You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and welcome. I am Spaceboy, and across from me is the lovely Surlana, and we make up the dynamic duo that is Spaceboy Universe, till death do us part. Tonight is June the 16th, 2018, and we are doing Topic Roulette, exploring the universe with us. So be prepared for the unknown that's going to be coming at you at light speed, FTL as I like to say. So it should be for a fun evening. Hey, as always, follow us on Twitter. That's at the SB Universe. Follow Surlana at Surlana. Follow me. That's Spaceboy at Spaceboy Music. Of course, you could want you to hashtag the heck out of anything that comes up tonight on Twitter. That's hashtag SB Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. Want to hang out with them Space Cadets? Because they're a great group of people. They will love you to death. You can do so by going to spaceboyuniverse.com. Click on the dance and chat bubble in the player, and that will get you in with all the cool kids. Going off to media, social media that is, we are all over the place. We are in like Flynn, like you can't believe. And, you know, just spin the wheel, and there we are. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. It's all good in the neighborhood. Go check us out on Facebook. Just search for Spaceboy Universe. You know, speaking of other Spaceboy-related social media sites, YouTube. That's right. YouTube is the place where we archive our shows, at least one of the places. And you can also check out videos, interviews that we've done at the particular conventions and all that good stuff. It's always great. Go subscribe and make sure to click the bell off the goat. That way you'll be notified immediately when there's new content available. Right, Surlana? Yeah, as she's over there chewing. But anyway, so yeah, go become a subscriber. It's your duty as a Space Cadet to do so. You know, as I said, you could take SBU on the go with you. We have various places that the show archives off air, like, for example, iTunes. Hopefully soon we'll be on Spotify, where you can take that on the go. We're awesomely proud of the fact that you can take us with iHeartMedia. That's right. iHeartMedia. You can listen to on the go Spaceboy Universe. Once again, just look for Spaceboy Universe when doing the search. But on that magical note, I bring in the lovely co-hosts for today and until we die, and that is Surlana. Hello, Surlana. How are you?
Do you want to get into this or not? I
don't know.
Do
you want to build a snowman?
First of all, how do you get on Spotify? Is it something we have to facilitate?
Well, it's the inner workings of Spreaker. They're working on it. And,
so we're waiting on Spreaker.
We're waiting on Spreaker's end.
Cool.
But they've offered,
that would be very cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's another way to get out there.
We've been hardcore Spotify listeners since almost its conception.
Well, I had heard about it through the internet, through blogs, because, you know, it was the UK had it first. Mm-hmm. And they were all showing their playlists and everything. Mm-hmm. And so when we got the free version over here, I was like, ooh. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, now that's what I love about applications is you no longer have to download content, just the app, and everything else lives somewhere else, you know, so you have to crud up your phone with MP3s or like we used to.
Well, I'm kind of still doing that with VLC. It has an ability where you could take your MP3s and magically pull it across your network and then put it on your phone without using the iTunes
Well,
app.
you're going to show me how to do that
Well,
very soon.
Every time I try to show you something, you're like, "Oh, don't show me this now." I mean, you're driving 80 miles an hour.
I'll make an appointment with you. That drove... A lot of things you did today just drove me insane.
Well, you started the day off with...
bad, yeah.
And when I say started the day off, you were, it was past 11. But,
Who gives a crap? It's Saturday.
The thing is that, I gave
That's
you
what
space.
Saturdays are made for.
I went and had breakfast. I worked on music at Mickey D's through their Wi-Fi.
I've had an allergy sinus headache for 4 days in a row. I can't get rid of it. There's nothing I can take that will stop the pain. I don't know what's going on. The over-the-counter stuff isn't working anymore. So I'm just having to work through it. And, of course, laying down at night doesn't help.
Well,
and it gets all crapped up
weather-wise,
overnight.
our area has been under pressure. And so I'm sure that is contributing to your situation.
Under lots of pressure. And
I know 2 days ago I was feeling a lot of pressure in the back of my head. Major headache. And
we had a storm that popped up right over downtown. It was a major, intense thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't help either. So I woke up in pain and cranky. I'm very sinusy. My nose is running, but it's also stuffing up and blah, 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 blah. And I just told you, I said, I just can't put up with shenanigans today. I just can't do it.
And I kept asking you, are you referring to me as Mr. Shenanigans? And you would not answer.
Well, who else is around? But anyway, so what he does is I was like, okay, we'll go out to lunch, but pick somewhere that has soft food because all my teeth are hurting with the sinus. And, of course, you take me to the most hipstery bullcrap restaurant.
Okay, before you go there, I was prepared to take you to Cane's to get your thing, and you said I don't want anything crunchy, so that eliminated a lot of things across the board. And since I had hit up Panera Bread the other day, I was jonesing for more soup. The problem is it's hard to find a place. See, I like soup. The thing is, it's hard to take you anywhere because just the idea of soup or any kind of...
I have this idea about soup.
Or salad bar freaks you out.
To me, soup is... This is weird, I know. Soup is a private thing. It should only be experienced at home when you make it or you go and get it out of a can and microwave it. It's just... Soup is not a let's go to a restaurant and eat it on purpose as a meal idea. That's just freaking weird. So keep your soup at home and it's secret.
Anyway, I loved going out to eat soup. I got it in the bread bowl thing where they put a hole in a piece of big bread.
And they left the plug out there.
Well, some people like to eat the plug, so I enjoyed my plug. I think it's kind of funny they give you like a little side piece of bread with that, too. Yeah. I
had tortellini with some shredded chicken thrown on top, just haphazardly. And
it wasn't too bad. It
wasn't too bad. It was a little too rich, and it you had to eat it quickly before it started going cold. So I went there. I tried. Now I don't have to ever go back. But the one thing I did like about it is when you walked in, it was a standalone Panera Bread by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in, and they have little touchscreen kiosks, so you can walk over there and just order what you want and pay for it, and you don't have to talk to another human being. And I freaking love that. I love self-checkout. I love ordering my groceries online, and of course you have to talk to them to pick them up, but anything that removes one more level of humanity from my life is amazing because I have almost crippling social anxiety, and that becomes from having to deal with other people, especially strangers. If you're a stranger, I probably don't like you because you freak me out. And
she hates people.
I'm not a person that needs other people. I'm just not.
She's not a people hater.
I'm not a people pleaser, a people person. I don't want to be around other people.
She's definitely, you'd never think that about that when, doing the show.
I am doing the show because you won't let me not do this show. Okay, here's the second thing we were talking about right before.
Well, wait, hold on. I want to get back into the kiosk thing because I want to agree with you because.
Okay, go ahead and agree with me.
That's
always good times.
I went to Mickey D's this morning and they have at the one by our house where they have the kiosk.
They do? They remodeled?
Not the one over there by the Exxon.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
they're more hip.
So it's nice to go up to the screen, and the first time I love this.
Like you walked in there.
The first time I did it. It was like, "Do you need help?" No, I don't need help. And then somebody else asked, "Hey, well, I can help you over here." And
were you taking too long?
No, well, that's not the point. The point is, if I'm at a kiosk,
were you the only person?
Yeah, I was the only person.
They were bored, honey.
There were people actually in line at the cash register.
They were bored
because they didn't know any better about using the self, checkout. I like that in the sense that I don't have to tell you what I want to get it right. I can push the button.
Suddenly I want Mickey D's pancakes and sausage.
Well, you could have had an opportunity, but I understand.
Yeah, but I'm not getting up at the correct time.
Anyway, so, that is great. The first time we did a kiosk situation, we were at Jack in the Box.
Yes.
Which you don't ever want to go back there, but that's fine.
No. I just don't. I don't want to get into that. It's boring.
Once again,
I do eat
it's nice.
items.
It's nice to go up to the kiosk and not have to deal with a cashier.
Because you can't get it unless they fill out the order wrong. They didn't take it down wrong unless you did it wrong. So,
but kiosks are great. I'm sorry that people can't get it right at the register, and when you're dealing with human interaction, but. It is great to be able to punch in things, and then for them to look at a screen and say, "Okay, I need this, this, and this to fill the order." So that is nice. So
we walked up, we ordered it, you paid right there, and we went and got the little number, and we sat down.
Switching back to Panera Bread now.
And all they did, the only human interaction we had was they came and they sat the food down in front of us, and they went away. That's awesome.
And and I don't want to downplay Surlana's anxiety because it is
real.
It is a real thing, and
on medication.
And but I have
to get through a day.
I have to give her my hat off to her because she does exceptionally well on the show, and you would never.
I
think
don't even
that.
want to. So, like I said, I don't even want to be here. So
now we can segue into
the lottery.
Oh, now
we talk. There's a lot of our conversations that begin. Hey, if we ever win the Powerball, assuming if we played it, but we could do this, that, and the other. Or we could. Okay, of course, number one is pay everything off, so we don't owe and we're not on any debt, and then buy whatever we need to buy instantly and not be in debt over it. So, get that over with. And you played today, and you said the pot was $3 million, and I was saying. That's not that much money.
Actually, it's 4.68 million, and
that's still not that much money.
See, it blows my mind. You don't think that's enough money?
I don't think
that is enough money to take care of
early retirement.
And
I don't think so.
And we can, take some of that money and put it into something to make money out of.
So you're saying that, that's enough for us both to quit our jobs. I said, well, you can quit yours.
No, my thing was that based on our salaries, we just allow ourselves so much money per year.
But anyway,
out of that.
You said it's enough based on whatever criteria you put up. And I said, I don't think it's that much money, but you said yes. You said not only could we both quit, SBU would become our new full-time jobs. And I said, oh, no.
I said, oh, yes.
No. If theoretically we've got this money you say we have, then we could go afford to rent a space that's a studio and be legit. And then we
can't afford extra money to
and
rent.
then according to you, we can. And we can take like 6 months to a year to interview people to be your new co-host, rebrand the show, and off you go.
Well, yeah,
and you can pay for advertisement.
I'm telling you,
sponsors.
This is not going to happen. You're going to be my co-host.
Well, it's that, or I don't know what the only way is. I have to get in a car accident or something.
Whatever.
Drive off a cliff. But anyway, that would be the one way to keep it. You could still be doing something you want, and I could just go read somewhere.
Okay, that, like I said, it ain't going to happen because you're going to be my co-host. You apparently
don't know how to get out of
you
this.
Apparently didn't read the fine print when we got married.
There's nothing in the marriage vows that says, and do you promise to co-host a digital broadcast with your spouse until one of you dead? No. I mean, our Captain Picard lookalike said nothing about that.
Well, like on that bridge, there was a lot of fine print everywhere. Until you stepped up and read it, read it close up, you didn't know it was there.
Well, whatever. If I knew then what I knew now.
Oh, what, you going to say you would have never married me? Oh.
Well, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would have found a way to make this happen without me behind the mic, because I really don't think there's any point in me being here. But anyway, since I'm here, let's talk about the next thing. So I like to spring things on you when we're out and about and we're driving around.
So we're doing the whole show within 30 minutes now, or
what? You mean let me do these other things? Let me do these other things.
I mean, no, go ahead and let's have the conversation.
No. We'll save that for that.
No.
That's going to lead to something else you feel passionate about.
Yeah, and
let's talk about Comcast's offer to buy Fox out from under Disney.
Yeah, this is really it's. Hold on, this is definitely goat worthy. Okay, this thing that Disney was getting ready to buy Fox, and it's pretty much, I think they were up to the point where they were going to just they're almost ready to sign the papers, and here comes along Comcast. And they offer more money. Now, I don't know if Fox is being serious in entertaining the offer from Comcast, but, they're really close to closing the deal with the Fox-Disney deal. And here's why it gets my goat is that, one, it would open up a lot of storylines with Marvel because Fox owns, the X-Men and Fantastic Four. What is it you don't get?
I get that those two entities have belonged to Fox, but in the comic book world, they belong to Marvel, right?
Right, but
okay.
see...
So it would put them back together.
Let me explain. There was a time when Marvel was financially strapped, and so they sold off certain properties, or the rights to use the properties, to certain companies. Like, for example, Spider-Man is controlled by Sony Pictures. And then you've got Fox, which owns or controls X-Men and Fantastic Four. And then, of course, now more recently, Deadpool, your favorite. And so, these things have kind of been fractured, in different, things.
Yes.
So what would be a great win for Disney is that they acquire Fox and get the rights to those Marvel characters, thus expanding the ever-expanding universe of the MCU and bringing on certain characters of, like, say, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And so, because, Wolverine has participated with the Avengers before. It just, unfortunately, the rights have not been there to allow that to happen. So, it's kind of crazy with all that going. Now, the reason the big holdup from Comcast has been, they've been watching this, this antitrust thing with Time Warner and, what was it? Time Warner and... I can't remember. But anyway, it just went through the court system, and they won the ability to go ahead and merge. Okay, so you're talking
about the court's decision to let AT&T and Time Warner merge is ridiculously bad.
Yes, we're dealing with companies. I'm thrilled to
it's like two evils joining to make one super evil.
Yeah. So you have Time Warner and you said, what was it again? You just said
AT&T.
AT&T. See, I constantly I block them out, even when I'm at Walmart and they're trying to pitch me their stuff. I'm trying to block them out.
Actually, I was in there the other day and Comcast was doing their thing, and I'm like, well, I'll get by them easy.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, long story short, let me get this back to the beginning. Is that we're waiting to see what happens probably within the next 2 weeks, because in about 2 weeks in July, and the first part of July. The the Fox Disney deal is either going to be signed, and then we go from there. But let me put it this way: at best case scenario, we wouldn't find out. We wouldn't see if the Fox Disney merger happened. We wouldn't really see any of those characters from the Fox deal show up in the MCU until beginning of next year, because it takes
they
gotta wait until everything finals out, but the contract would be signed, sealed, and delivered by
then. Here's the thing, what Comcast is offering them, $65 billion in cash ready to go, whereas Disney
stocks
months in the making offer $52.4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney stock actually just went up. So
That would be
Who knows?
That would be very appealing to those with the stock deal.
But MCU fans are going kind of crazy because they don't know what it means for merging the MCU back together.
The MCU fans are just ravenous over the fact that they get all these characters, but it's kind of like a scenario that we never thought would happen with all these characters to be part of finally joined back together. And
Disney made a deal with Sony to get Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and it's worked. See how that's worked out? We've got a great Spider-Man. He's part of the MCU. I think he's he's grown on me. I think he's probably the better Spider-Man that we've seen.
Yeah, because he's younger. I didn't believe that Toby, what's his face? What is he, like 38 trying to play 18? But this kid looks fresh, and he's got the youthful enthusiasm of a 12-year-old.
And Garfield, he was a good actor. I mean, he still is a good actor. I saw him in that, what was it, the Hacksaw Ridge movie? I know you haven't seen it, but he did.
I know of it.
It was a pretty decent movie, but the thing is that this new young man has played Spider-Man really great. He's got that enthusiasm. He's young, and it's just the energy he projects into the Spider-Man is great. And then plus, we didn't have to have another origin story to explain us how Spider-Man got his powers.
Yeah,
they just jumped right in, and
okay, he's got it, and he's dealing with it. So.
Right, exactly. So that was really great, and I kind of I'm really rooting for him.
Now, do you believe AT&T and Time Warner are banding together because they're two sinking ships to form one mega sinking ship?
Yeah, I believe so, because the thing is that, what is the big thing out of all this is that's getting all these people into this situation is Netflix. Netflix has proven that you can do digital on demand, and especially if you have content to back it up, the world is your oyster. So you have people like Time Warner and AOL, I mean not AOL, AT&T, trying to merge, because you have the communication sides with AT&T, and then you have all the content with Time Warner. It just makes a good match for them, and especially AT&T, because you have your AT&Ts, you have your Comcast, and really what really gets my goat on the Comcast side is it's not like that Comcast doesn't have a major motion picture studio behind them, because they have Universal.
Now, they, AT&T, Comcast, all them, they provide you the means to get to your content. They're not necessarily the content. The content is like Facebook, Google, So,
but see, that's the big worry there. See, if Comcast gets their little piece of the pie like this, like Time Warner, then they can be the gatekeepers and regulate, okay, you want to watch Netflix, then you have to pay this.
This is called the repeal of net neutrality. But you don't want to hear that. So let's talk about let's talk about what these corporations are doing.
Let's talk about it for a second.
No, because I have this next thing up.
No, but you bring it up. We could segue into your next thing. The thing is that you and I differ from the net neutrality thing. You were all for, keep these things in place, and I'm like, nope, get rid of them. Let Congress decide whether to regulate the internet. And what's happening?
Bad idea.
No, they're starting to. Oh, whoa. Hey, we need to make these changes. Congress needs to put these places in change. I don't like a small agency dictating anything that I have to say or do or watch or whatever, whether it be them, whether it be the...
I still think you're confused on this issue,
I
really don't want to rehash it right now.
I really don't understand why you think that I'm confused.
I don't think they should be throttling things based on content, like Comcast, we're going to throttle your Netflix because we don't like in their competition. That is the repeal of neutrality.
Do you think that that's what I'm saying here?
Yes, you're saying.
No, I'm not
do
saying.
It.
I'm against putting in a tier system and pay system and regulate.
So the word net neutrality is a good thing, and repealing it is bad. I'm saying the repeal of it is bad.
I'm telling you,
it has been repealed.
That agency should not have put its paws on it one way or another, and that it should be regulated by law. Who makes our laws?
Yes, but they don't do it right.
Well, that's not my fault that there are people in the United States that put these yahoos up there for whatever reason that they put them in office. I mean, let's take Nancy Pelosi, Skeletor. I mean, here's a woman that's, and I know this is terrible, what I'm about to say.
Icarus, careful.
I'm just saying that there are some people like her Or let me, I'm trying to think of, just to balance it out here.
I just really didn't want to get into this.
The Kentucky senator, and now it's eluded me because
I am going to look that up.
Anyway, there are many people up there in Washington that have done 6, 7 terms, and they need to go home. There needs to be regulation. But
anyway,
at the end of the day, let me just point this out, and then you can segue into whatever you want to segue. And that is that in the end, we will eventually get where we need to get to. And where do you want to take us from there?
Well, looking at these companies that are all over us and giving us good services we need, some of us we like, but they're not always doing things in our favor. And unfortunately, this is Amazon, Microsoft, and Uber are paying big money to kill a privacy initiative in where? California. So this has to do with data sharing scandals again. So state of California, in an unprecedented move of maturity and sanity, has a proposal to put forth a California Consumer Privacy Act that would make these companies I mentioned disclose the types of information they're collecting about California citizens, like the data they use to target ads, how they allow the public to opt out of having their information sold. And some of these prominent industries like Amazon, Uber, and Microsoft have thrown money at a group to campaign against this initiative, this policy. It's they've got 195,000 contributions from Amazon and Microsoft, 50,000 from Uber. So, of course, Facebook, Google, AT&T, and Verizon each contributed $200,000 to block this measure. They don't want you to know what they're doing with your data. So, it's been, the campaign to pass it has been wholly funded by Bay Area real estate developer Alistair McTaggart. He spent $3 million on this campaign. He says that in the personal data industry, there's so much money that they're very powerful corporations. They really have an immense interest in keeping business as usual and having no regulations. I believe it. Sounds a lot like the repeal of net neutrality. So that's going on right now. So these companies that we use and we do like Amazon, they're still probably not acting in our best interest when it comes to how they're handling us as consumers. So,
well, this is a good spot to stop. And,
yeah, I got lots more after this.
Because we don't want to get into another round of net neutrality fight. And,
no, I've got more little brief bullet points that are left over from this segment when we come back, and we'll get into some
all right, well,
knockdown, drag-out stuff.
Well, we'll be right back after these wonderful messages and music interlude.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
This is author Gordon Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
All right. Now, just a shout out to all our space cadets out there. Miss Michelle, Surlana, and I both have chocolate. So we're going to put ourselves in the right mind there. So, but hey, before we get started to what Surlana was going to say when we got back on the mic is that I was reading a saying from Uprocks. Apparently, Samuel L. Jackson's favorite role is not the movie you might think, and that is the question that's going out to our space cadets tonight: is what is your favorite Samuel L. Jackson movie? Yeah, what is your favorite Samuel L. Jackson movie? Now, what was surprising in this particular article, I pegged it, and apparently you're not going to get it, but so I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. It is The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis. Now, I bring this up because we'll circle back with this because it's a powerful chick movie, busting chops and all that good stuff. And, we'll segue into something a little bit later here. But the thing is, it's a great movie. And he's saying in this particular article that is his favorite movie to work on back in the day. In fact, he goes on to say that you need to advertise this to women during the day because your audience will definitely come see this movie. And he admits the movie didn't do that well financially, but it is a great movie to see. So anyway, if you get a chance, check it out. I know that Amazon is trying to charge an arm and a leg and a different part altogether to purchase the movie. But so that is the question tonight. What is your Samuel L. Jackson movie? Did you come up with one, Surlana?
I just went and looked at his entire
He's
TV movie history.
Prolific.
And I just couldn't come up with one. I couldn't think of one movie I like, man, I like that movie because he's in it, or I liked his role because he's in it. Just nothing really struck me. And I would say more than 80% of them I have not seen. I have seen A Long Kiss Goodnight, but the thing is, it was so long ago. I have a vague recollection that Gina Davis was in it and what it was about. Mm-hmm. I don't remember his role at all, so I couldn't tell you that was my favorite because I don't remember it.
He was a detective in that movie.
Okay, I'll take your word for
and
it.
He was trying to find... Apparently, the movie synopsis is that she is found washed up on the shore of some Jersey shore, and she has amnesia, and she's pregnant. And so, I guess at some point she hires a detective to hunt down, her identity. Several years pass. She has the baby, grows up. She gets hooked up into a relationship with a man. I don't know I can't remember if she married him or what. But eventually, what happens is she remembers who she is. That she works for the CIA, or she worked for the CIA at some point. And then these people are out to kill her, and just from that point on, it makes for a great story. I guess the synopsis is a violent tale of a young woman, mother who awakens after years of amnesia to discover that she's an assassin with her former bosses in hot pursuit. So there you go. So once again, tonight's big question is, what is your favorite Samuel L. Jackson? We'll be reading the chat to check to see if anybody comes up with any good ones. But anyway, so we go back to Surlana and round 2. Fight.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. But for people like me and you who are fans of Rick and Morty, Season 4 has begun production. And not only that, but creator and voice of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, says that it's getting back and they're excited and it's great. And he says they want the episodes to stay good, but they also want to try and turn them around a little quicker, like quicker than a year. Mm-hmm. And they have a big order. It gives them ability to be faster. They're not going to take long breaks and have these big chasms between seasons. They're going to schedule vacation time and keep the machine going, and it's going to be really cool. Well, so he says.
I imagine that they're contracted for 70 episodes, so they want to churn this out and make the money that they're getting paid, I'm sure. But Adult Swim, I think it's interesting Adult Swim is doing it because I can't think of a particular show that they've kind of sunk money in like this. That's been so relevant. I know that Aqua Teen Hunger Force at the beginning was pretty popular.
Well, looking back, I don't know if they sunk money in, but something they look back on fondly is Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Yeah, I think that's when they
really took off.
When they were first building up Adult Swim.
That one really was a good one. And an unrelated note, there is going to be a Season 5. Well, they're hoping to get a Season 5 announced without BoJack Horseman, but there isn't one yet.
I would hope so. I think that at least do one more season of BoJack Horseman on Netflix. And I would love to see another season of that.
Well, you've heard the expression, it's raining men. Well, what if it was raining seafood?
Oh, I think I saw this.
Grab a bucket and turn it upside down. Citizens of the Chinese coastal city Qingdao had something quite weird happen to them over the week. A storm rained down on them octopi, shrimp, starfish, and other various aquatic life. Now, and it was due to a tornadic waterspout.
I saw some of the, I saw an octopus falling from the sky. I saw a shrimp on somebody's window, with the wipers on. I'm trying to think of what else I saw, but that was pretty interesting. But I've heard of things with waterspouts doing this, picking up sea life.
What happens if you want to know, you've got a big body of water out there, right? So a high-speed wind comes across the water and acts as a vacuum, and it just sucks up the water and whatever's in the water that it can, take, which ends up coming back down as rain.
Sounds like Sharknado is coming to China.
I'm looking at a GIF of Sharknado right now. So there's photos of this. Some of these, I think, have got to be a little photoshopped. I don't know about this, but some they're on Twitter. I'm looking at another GIF here. So, shellfish storm may seem odd, but it's not unusual. Last year, this happened in Tampico, Mexico during a rainstorm, where it rains fish. It can rain frogs. This goes all back to the beginning of time, like the 1st century AD. It's happened in the Old Testament. It's kind of funny. Now I'm looking at, like you said, I'm looking at the actual photos. I'm going to think that's a tiny squid because I don't know about that. I mean, very odd, but I just thought that was hysterical.
Well, it's an interesting thing, and it's science fact. It's not science fiction. It definitely happens from time to time. That would explain a lot of things or phenomenon of like raining frogs and other things like that. That a lot of people take biblically, and it is actually legit scientific factual documentation on it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is like a world news story. It's not, it's kind of everywhere right now, so I just thought I would share that with you. But on to some other things now. I'd like to do a quick summary review of Riff Tracks Live Space Mutiny that we got to see Thursday night. If you're not familiar with Riff Tracks Live, well, Riff Tracks Live is the last 3 guys to be on Mystery Science Theater 3000 when it was on air on the Sci-Fi Channel and previous to that to the Comedy Central. They went off and did Riff Tracks Live. So occasionally they will have a live broadcast that gets streamed to your local movie theater, and you go get your tickets and you can sit there and it's a live event, but you're watching it, in the movie theater. So they make fun of older B, C, D list movies. A lot of them they've already done before. And Space Mutiny is one that they have made fun of before, back when they were doing Mystery Science Theater 3000, same 3 guys. And you're like, oh my gosh, how can they come up with new material to make fun of this movie they've already made fun of? When we went to see it, I've already seen it several times because of it, because of Misty. And I don't know if you'd seen it before, Spaceboy, but
I've seen clips.
I have to say this is my first somewhat disappointing, other than Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, this is the second most disappointing one because the original riff of Space Mutiny on Mystery Science Theater was way funnier. It had more jokes per second. It was very zippy. It had more, I don't know, it was just better. But it was also more heavily edited. They cut things out, and I didn't know there was partial nudity in it till we saw what we saw Thursday night, even though that was censored too. So, however, if you do know what I'm talking about, Space Mutiny on Mystery Science Theater, you'll be fully aware of the many names of David Ryder. There's a character, he's like the big muscular superhero guy, but he's not a superhero, he's just a regular guy. But his name is David Ryder. And they have all these kind of crazy names for him in the original riff, like, beef, lamp broth, just. So they go 25 minutes into this live riff, and they started coming up with their first new additions to the many names of David Ryder, and the theater went crazy around us. I mean, we were surrounded by nerds Thursday night. It was kind of beautiful in a way. So I'm hoping there's somebody out there who's been writing these down and we can add them to the canon of the many names of David Ryder. And that's what I wrote on my Facebook post. if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you don't take your relationship with me very seriously, and I'm very disappointed in you.
Don't put them on the spot like that, Surlana.
I'm very disappointed in you.
Don't listen to her. She's just been edgy all day, so,
So, earlier, we were riding around, and I like to do these things where I catch you off guard, one, to see if you're paying attention.
I'm always paying attention.
So, we turned out of our neighborhood to get onto the big cross street, and I said, look at that manhole cover. That's huge. What is underneath there? And you're like, oh, it could be a major junction of pipes down there or something. And I started thinking, in this day and age, is it proper to call it a manhole cover? Because can't women and children get down there too? I mean, it's not just for men to get in. I was like, shouldn't it be like a human hole cover? And I was just sort of messing with you, but then it sort of just fell apart into this thing where you and I were actually discussing it. And I was telling you back in 1990, whatever, 1 or 2, when I was in community college and I had to write a paper for a philosophy course, a freshman level philosophy course. My professor liked it, but he says, I can't accept it until you go back and change everywhere you've put the word mankind. Please change it to humankind, and then I'll take it. Probably give you an A. And
first off, did you get an A?
I don't remember nothing about that, other than he made us listen to Dark Side of the Moon. So that was our final human hole cover. So that was my first encounter with the rebranding. And you said, you were going mankind, and you said something else like, well, that supposes that only men exist. It's only mankind. There's no womankind and the other 80,000 genders that have cropped up. So,
well, okay, so.
But I wasn't trying to make a thing of it.
Well, you opened Pandora's box, didn't you?
That's right, Icarus. I did. You call me Pandora, I'll call you Icarus.
So the thing is that I get very frustrated with the world we live in today, that we have to be so politically correct when it comes to certain names, like manhole cover. Oh boy, strike a blow for womankind for changing it for humankind. No, it's not. I mean, this audience knows that I love everybody, regardless of race, gender, whatever. But there comes a point where, when did we as a society fall apart? Just because you have some people out there. And the key here is some. Some doesn't represent everyone. Some represents a small minority of people that want to make things so, well, you hurt my feelings, so this is what I want
I want retribution because I have a feeling and it was hurt.
Yeah, and
but here's the thing. As I was talking right before the show started, we're living in a world now. You can have a suspicion about somebody that did something. There's no confirmation on it. There's no evidence. But if you suspect somebody did something, your life is over. Your career is done.
Guilty.
If somebody even tangentially names you in a story about physical or sexual or mental abuse, you're done. You're done. Because there's something going around now, and I haven't had a chance to look in it about, so-and-so's ex-girlfriend named him as possible abuser, but there was no out-and-out accusation as Mr. So-and-so did this to me. But his career's already dead. It's not even confirmed. His career's just dead.
Well, the sad thing about that is that, and there, Chris Hardwick, there's no front evidence that shows left or right about in other words, this story is developing.
I could see him doing mental abuse, but physical, he's not very scrappy. I think I could take him.
Which is kind of sad because we've watched him all the way back into the Attack of the Show days on, what was that, the G network?
G4,
G5.
It's long gone.
Yeah. But anyway, and he's been, a lot of people will recognize him from The Talking Dead. And, he's been very successful with that show. And in other shows.
Talking Bad, too. So.
And Talking Bad. Where?
Yeah, Talking Bad. He had an after show.
Oh, that's right.
After Breaking Bad, where he did
I'm
Talking
like,
Bad.
have you lost your mind? But anyway, Talking Dead is very popular.
I have.
Yes.
It's your fault.
How is it my fault?
Because you're here.
The fact is that you really want to start something here, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, and I don't deserve that.
I want to be starting something.
Yeah. Well, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
But anyway, this whole world, I'm trying to say, this whole world we're living in, you're tired of that political correctness. Now, here's...
Okay.
You just went through this other stuff with Star Wars I had no idea about.
Well, first off, before I get down that tangent, thank you. I'll take some more water and chocolate during the break. The thing is that, we're getting close to the top of the hour. I guess I'll segue into this part, but we can go back into that part, is that, with every generation, for example, my grandparents, not saying my grandparents, but grandparents' generation, there were a lot of people who thought a certain way that today either could be backward thinking, racist thinking, or, take your pick, spin the wheel, whatever. The thing is that people have said, well, wait a generation, they'll die out.
That's what we said in the car. I said, well, you don't like having to say mankind or humankind or a person hole
not when
cover.
It comes to a manhole cover.
So I said, we're going to have to wait for you to die off so we can have person hole cover.
But I think...
I agree that's ludicrous sounding.
And in some aspects, did I not agree with you
on
that?
They've said that for years, babe.
Yeah.
Like, you have to wait for the racists to die off.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. A lot of people want it now, but it's difficult when you have people who are so set in their ways. And
I don't know. I think I might take that over the I'm ready to accuse you and it ruin your life culture.
Wait, you're for that?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if I could take a little racism and sexism over oh my gosh, you did it, let's destroy you.
Okay, no, I agree with you. It's I think that the rush
everyone's your judge and jury.
Rush to judgment is only bad for everyone, because who's to say you accuse somebody and they're totally innocent of it? You ruin a life. You ruin somebody who's built up a career of doing certain things.
Because the herd mentality of the day is so freaking immature.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a sad world we live in, but that is the world we live in, Surlana. And I guess the ultimate question is, how do we break out from that world? And when we come back...
just die.
When we come back, we'll talk some more. We're getting excited here. Surlana needs some more chocolate, so...
no, I need drink.
You need drink?
Drink.
All right, so take your drink, and we'll be right back.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe.
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
So anyway, like I was saying before our break, is that I think our audience knows me well and where I stand, and let's face it, when it quacks like a duck, it's got to be a duck. And there was a time that we didn't get our feelings hurt when somebody said something. It was like, okay,
we did, but we just sucked it up and kept it ourselves.
We moved forward.
Nobody cares.
I'm not talking about. There's a line between being hateful, and then there's a line between saying something stupid and and ignorant, and I don't know. I just, this world we're living in is so topsy turvy, and which gets me to a point of when we were talking in the car about the manhole covers, just thinking about that. And
I didn't know it was going to set you off.
And it even sounds like a bad something when you say it that way too. When I listed it as topics that we were going to talk about.
Your manhole. Like that kind of bad.
Well, yeah, it felt like kind of negative in a way. And,
that's just what they've been calling.
And I felt hurt, and so I had to go find my safe spot and and cry about it. So anyway,
your safe spot.
So. That we're both Star Trek fans, right off the bat. Hold on,
Trek, yes.
Star Trek. I know where I'm saying, and I said that on specifically. I don't know. You've not said anything if you were a Star Wars fan.
When I was a kid, I was insane over it because we're talking about 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yes, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back,
I was
and The Return of the Jedi.
Perfect age for all 3 of those movies. When they first came out, I was there when they first got released.
Right.
And that was a glorious time. And if you're too young or too old to have cared, well, you missed out.
The movies the movies are out there. They speak for themselves. They're great movies.
Those 3 were just kind of like in this little container with themselves, and they have a style and a feel to them. And I don't know if it's because it was 79, 82, and 80, whatever.
I think the reason why it works so well is because the story works its way around the hero's journey. And
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, and so basically these movies were not pushing some kind of secret agenda or it was like an adventure. It was fun and excitement. And
it was a story.
It was
telling a story.
Now,
that's it.
Then you get, at some point, Lucas comes back and he does episodes 1, 2, and 3. It has a little bit of politics involved in it because you're dealing with the Senate and stuff like that. And
Snoresville.
That
was his worst crime, is it was boring.
Well, I think a lot of people feel that Jar Jar Binks was his worst crime, but that's a different story altogether. But still, once again, I particularly liked the Clone Wars, which spun off into its own little TV series, animated series, and then later on we get Rebels. And so I'm a big fan.
Some good came out of it, huh?
Some great stuff came out of that, and but I won't get into that. But the long story short, there is no secret agenda here to push. Overall pushing, that is. So then you get, after all these years, you get Lucas sells his little baby to Disney, and we all, the fans in general, like, hey, all right, we're finally going to get all these movies coming out, Star Wars, and they're going to go dive right into it. And for the beginning, when it first started, we got The Force Awakens. It was a pretty good start of this new trilogy of movies we're going to get to finally end, I guess, the box set of all the movies that we've had prior to that point. And then we get the movie Rogue One. How did you feel about that movie?
The feel of it was very close to what I felt for 4, 5, and 6. It felt like it belonged in that world, but maybe it was just like one generation, coming up. But because you got to, when she was there, Leia was like maybe in her 20s or something, and it was them trying to get this thing to Leia, and that's how she said a lot of people died to get me these plans,
right?
And sure enough, like a whole planet full of people died. Several planets full of people died. So there was a poignant story there, and sure, it was a bummer. And I think, the movie Clerks said Empire was the best because it has the down ending. Well, these depressing Star Wars are really good because I guess it's the story, not the special effects, not the characters.
Well, the in that particular one, Rogue One, I felt like I got to bond with these characters pretty quickly.
And they had a little zippy robot, but he wasn't there too much, and he wasn't in your face, and he didn't take up a bunch of screen time. Although I could have sat there and watched a talk show with him,
And also we didn't get robot agenda driven politics, which Han Solo, which we'll get to in just a second.
Robots have rights too.
Female robots got rights, and a robotic uprising. Just thinking about it, anyway. So
gender neutral robots.
Rogue One, you liked. I didn't feel like they pushed her as a character on me because she was a woman. I thought it was a good story. It was well written.
She was the only child of the guy who had the plans.
It filled a plot hole.
You're like, oh my gosh, great movies, really stupid premise. Why would they have something this simple? Well, we're going to go back and fix it. That's like they said, well, why do Klingons look like this? And now the next generation Klingons look like this. Well, we're not going to tell you. But then here comes Star Trek Enterprise. Okay, now here's why Klingons look like this.
Yes, exactly. So
there's room to go explain stuff.
And at the very end, there was that great moment with Darth Vader coming down the hallway and him kicking some butt and
And unfortunately, I've watched too much things on the internet, and I found something that absolutely destroyed that scene as a parody. Like somebody was dubbing over that scene, talking over it. And they were playing rap music.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what was said, but I about peed myself.
You're going to have to show me that off air.
You've seen it. So.
Is it Djibouti?
Brock Baker.
Oh, Brock. Okay. Yeah, he's great. But the thing is, great movie, right? So, A Force Awakens, good start. J.J. Abrams directed. And then we get this thing from...
Oh, he directed that.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams.
Rogue One?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, not Rogue One. A Force Awakens.
Oh. That's the only new Star Trek I've seen is Force Awakens.
Yeah, well, it took you over, a year and a half to see it?
I'm like, I better watch it.
So, and then we get to Ryan... Oh, God, I keep forgetting his name.
Johnson?
Ryan Johnson. Anyway, that's another show and not our network. And so the thing is that... and that's pretty much how he wrote that particular thing.
Like that?
Yes, it's like...
You can't see what I'm doing, and I'm not going to tell you.
So he pretty much tossed that particular writing skills up in the air. Now,
but my hand hurts.
Well, that shouldn't be said, and our audience will get the wrong idea. So, a lot of people, okay, don't get me wrong. That particular movie, The Last Jedi, made some bank, over $1 billion, but that movie was scheduled to get over $2 billion.
Number 6?
No, I'm talking about
7, 8?
8. Episode 8. And that movie, let's be honest here, is not a great movie because and I got with you on this conversation before. I asked you, do you know how many times I've seen Star Wars, New Hope?
You told me like
Empire
30 something or other.
Well, 30 something times for Star Wars, the first one that came out, New Hope.
Are you talking about this when it was still brand new in the theater?
Yes, in the back there as a kid. I saw it 30 times, over 30 times, and then 20.
How did you afford that?
Well,
how did you have the time? And where was your mom or parent or guardian?
It was the summertime, and I just stayed in the theater and watched it over and over and over again. So that was some of the times I got to see it.
Just hit on the floor, I guess.
And then I would come back again and then I'd pay for money to go see it again and again. Anyway, the thing is that those movies I wanted to see over and over again. And then, you take a movie like The Last Jedi. I watched it once and I can't watch it again. It's hard to watch. There's some parts in there that are kind of cool to watch. Some sword fights, but lightsaber fights. But the movie as a whole was poorly written. Plus, this goes back into Kathleen Kennedy pushing her social agenda, forcing women upon us when it feels unnatural.
What did she do? How did she do that? I mean, because I didn't see this movie that everybody's talking about.
What do you mean, how did she do that?
What was in the movie that really...
Well, like, for example, we didn't need Rose in this movie. We didn't...
What movie?
The Last Jedi, the movie I'm talking
about. I didn't see it.
Yeah, so Rose is a character.
I thought the whole thing with Kathleen Kennedy was Solo was bad because she was in charge of getting the right people there. You are going
to have to watch this movie. And I hate to subject you to it.
So it wasn't just about Solo that people are upset with.
No,
her.
This is another movie. Okay. Yeah, that Solo was a different take altogether. Oh, and we'll get to that in just a second.
I have seen a picture of her with other women wearing a shirt that says "The Force is female."
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
Meaning that
in their context,
that basically Star Wars is not just for the guys; it's women. And
Leia had that ability all the time, didn't she? Didn't know it.
Well, the thing is that she was a very powerful woman. But let's look at Leia for example.
Self-rescuing princess.
Did you feel like she was pushed upon you?
Leia?
Yes.
No.
That's what Kathleen Kennedy's been doing with these characters in Star Wars. And then Rian Johnson comes along and really screws it up because basically J.J. Abrams set up this trilogy to say, okay, this is kind of the story arc that we're going to do. And then Ryan comes in and does his own thing. And then you've got Kathleen Kennedy trying to dictate which her social social agenda. Thank you very much.
I still don't understand what specifically she put in the movie.
I am telling you, okay, first off, this is a bad idea for you to comment right now.
Because I've not seen it.
Because you haven't seen it. You need to see the movie. And then we can go to Solo, because in Solo we've got this robot that's a female robot, okay? I know it's kind of funny, a robot female, but she doesn't look female, but it's being voiced by a female, and she goes and she's promoting, the robot uprising, and I'm trying not to spoil too much.
Is this in the movie?
In Solo, and then they call Lando Calrissian pansexual. I mean, back in the day, can you imagine back in the day when we saw The Empire Strikes Back and said, "Yeah, did you know
world.
I know you wouldn't have heard this, but Lando Calrissian is pansexual." I mean, we didn't go to the movies because, hey, we found out that he's pansexual and he's getting it on with his robot friend, and that's.
Although, for Lando's character, are you that surprised?
Mm-hmm. Well, but the thing is that that's the kind of crap that she's trying to push into these movies.
Okay, so I get it. It's like it's more about everybody's getting their 15 minutes to talk about their personal sexual preferences. And isn't it a great, big, awesome universe? Everybody gets to do that.
Okay.
What does that have to do with the story?
Okay, so there was a lot of go back in time for on something else. Ghostbusters movie. Remember how a lot of the fanboys lost their crap because it was an all-female cast and... Yeah,
but it was about the wrong thing. They weren't trying to overwrite the originals. They're like, hey, what if we did it with women just to see what happens? And then they didn't have to lose the crap.
Well, and in some degrees I agreed with you because, the original cast, they had their chance to do it. Mm-hmm. Blame it on Murray dragging his feet on the ground, whatever.
It was Murray and Ramis that had the problem.
Yeah, and so, we get a movie and they try an all-female cast. But let me ask you this, okay? The female cast aside, story for that particular thing?
Started out good. First 15 minutes were funny, and then it just
Mm-hmm.
That is the script's fault. Whoever was writing the script just didn't care, stopped trying. The script was not strong enough. It wasn't solid. It wasn't funny. They had lots of opportunities. The parts that were the funniest, as you get into it, were given to Chris Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
When is it 4 women? All 4 of those women have solid comedy chops, acting chops.
And I agree with you.
They're perfectly capable
They're all
of delivering
equally
comedy lines.
funny. I mean,
why give it to the beefcake? So they squandered their opportunity because the script was not good enough for the people who are trying to act it out.
And there was a lot of people that agree with you on that. Is the story
Those
sucked.
girls are funny.
Yeah, they are funny. And I've liked them in just different things altogether. Anything from Saturday Night Live to I was thinking of the other one.
The only thing I've liked Melissa McCarthy in is 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her in that spy film,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked her in Mike and Molly.
Yeah, I liked her in Mike and Molly too, and they canceled that one. But so anyway, so you point out is you've got good actors that were just hampered by the fact that the story sucked.
So
it did
with
not
Star
live up.
Wars, you've got your built-in characters. You've got things that are ready to go to be talked about. If the plot, if the writing, the script is not there, or if somebody says, I don't care about the story, let's make sure everybody gets all their personal sexual preferences out there. Is that what you're saying?
Almost to the point. But the thing is that, the fact is that you have them pushing their own agenda because,
I would argue this is just like the Muppets or Sesame Street. Well, that's the Muppets. The Muppets used to be cool and fun when I was growing up, and then they started getting into politics and this stuff like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
an all-encompassing. And I'm like, what has that got to do with me learning how to count and read?
Or enjoying a famous actor or actress sing along with the one of the Muppets. I mean,
I'm like,
how is that fun? It's like
teaching people how to.
It basically comes down as these executives are interjecting their own, opinions and social justice into these characters that we've grown up to love.
They ruin the Muppets,
and it ruins. And then you get the Muppet Show got canceled. And then
they had not the Muppet Show you and I grew up with.
No,
this was a different
version.
Modern. It was almost like a situational comedy in an office or something, but it was so dense with this nonsense. I don't. It wasn't for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was ever for kids, and that's what. First of all, that's confusing,
Right.
But
so
on the opposite side of this, you and I are very excited that Queer Eye Season 2 is out on Netflix.
Let's not jump the shark here just yet.
So you think we're crazy?
That goes into a show I enjoy too as well. But I want to get back to defining that one. So you get this movie, The Last Jedi, and a lot of people are mad at Kathleen Kennedy for.
Where are we now? Is that 8?
That's still 8 that we were talking about, and then we kind of backtracked. But 8
and 9's coming.
9's coming next year, Christmas time. Okay. That's a big gap between because originally the plan was to put at least 2 Star Wars movies out per year, and the reason that got put on the back burner is because of the Solo movie. There was a lot of people saying we're going to boycott not going to see Solo because of all the crap that's been going down in this particular movie.
And did Solo have some of this same agenda?
The same agenda-driven stuff. Okay. I've heard that there is some good stuff, but then, between the social agenda thing and the fact that the actor that's playing Solo, who doesn't look anything like him.
There was a better choice out there. They chose not to go with
they chose not to go with the better choice. The original directors that started off directing, which were the directors from the Lego movies, and I can't think of their names right now, were fired. They went back and reshot pretty much 80% of this. Ron Howard was brought on board to fix it. And you can't really blame Ron Howard.
Poor Richie.
I think, like I said, overall, if you take certain elements out of the Han Solo movie, it's one of those movies that's, it's not bad. But I always try to quantify a movie. Is this something that I would watch over and over again?
No.
No. And then, of course, when I buy a movie, my other quantifying of whether I'm going to buy a movie or not is this cheaper than me paying for 2 tickets to go, 3 tickets sometimes, to go see a movie? I say, yeah, I'll buy it and have it in my collection. Or complete the collection by just buying it because I own the other parts of the collection. So at the end of the day, the Solo movie did not do well. In fact, it was, you could say the Solo movie is the first major flop of all the Star Wars movies. And when you start looking at the bar graph of these movies as far as how much money they've made, there's an incline of money that's being taken in. Revenue is going down when these movies should be outpacing themselves and getting better and better as far as revenue is concerned. And that's a big thing that Disney should be focused on, is that, one, why aren't the people, watching these movies? What's going on?
Let me ask you this. What does this headline mean? How Kathleen Kennedy has turned Lucasfilm into a naked mole rat colony.
I can't explain that one off the top of my head, but it does remind me of another thing, is that can you imagine if what's your favorite restaurant to go to, Surlana?
Oh, jeez.
Come on, this is not rocket science.
Can you move forward without an answer?
Let's say your favorite restaurant was Chicken Foots.
Oh, let's just say it's Chopsticks Cafe, or Cafe Chopsticks, because it is.
Okay, well, I hate to use them as an example. I was hoping for a bigger.
Okay, we'll just make one up.
Corporation. So Corporation X, that serves the most delicious food that you've ever had, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, well, the sauce that you're using for your particular dish, I don't really like it. It could be better. And then the corporation comes back and says, well, you're just a woman who doesn't know any better, and you need to just worry about your own stuff and worrying about how we design our food because we know better than you do. Okay, that's exactly what the executives for Lucasfilm at Disney have been doing. Kennedy, Rian Johnson, all of them have been in this Twitter thing saying that, the fans would come back and say, well, we don't like this, or blah, blah, blah. Well, because you're white and you're prejudiced and you don't know any better and you need to go back into your parents' basement and lock the door and don't come out, we don't need your opinion. I mean, it's crap like that has been said to the fans. And, one thing, the worst thing to do is, we've gone from kids to adults, right? Yeah. I like to think I'm an adult.
It could be argued.
Yeah. So the thing is, at the end of the day, is that as an adult, I have money to buy these things or go see these things. Now it's like, okay, so you want to play that game, huh? Well, I'm not going to go see your stinking movie because of the way you're acting. If you're not going to be open and supportive of what I'm telling you or my suggestions, and you're going to call me a racist of all things, well then, okay, well apparently you don't want my money. And secondly, I'm not a racist.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying this film is calling its fans names.
Yeah, they're really.
And so they're like, well, that's how you feel about me, then you don't need my money then. So I got you.
So do you really think that it's prudent as a business owner to run your business by telling your customers to flip off?
Well, as you were listening to something, or you're reading something, or telling me something about, well, they're saying maybe one of the reasons that Solo didn't do so well is Star Wars fatigue.
Oh, now see, that's...
And they're like,
and here,
really?
Okay. Okay, and here I'll counter that. You know why I believe that's a bunch of baloney?
MCU.
The MCU, which is Disney owned, and they did Black Panther, did bukus of money, pre-sales and all that, which they were trying to say Solo was doing the same thing with these pre-sales. Not. And then soon, not after that, you have the Avengers 4 come out, bukus of money again. And so I have to call BS on that because I'm not buying the fatigue thing, because there was quite an interest and people wanted Star Wars. The idea when they were talking about Star Wars, you get 2 of them a year. You'll get a regular anthology, and then you'll get the Star Wars stories that will come out. And we were all looking forward to that until all this mess. And what really gets my goat here, and I'll just throw this for the audience, is that Kathleen Kennedy, when she was taking over from George Lucas, I'm going to keep everything the same. We're going to do George's vision, and everything's going to be great. We're all going to do Kumbaya.
I don't think she did that.
Yes, there's her and Lucas sitting together in a video. See, this is why when you got your head buried reading a Kindle book, I'm going over all this stuff.
Yeah, but books are good. Anyway, I think this is what you're thinking, maybe. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm looking at this random website, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever's writing this article on this website said that when she got put in charge of the Star Wars franchise, she committed to a left-wing social justice warrior and feminist agenda. Mm-hmm. She could be strident and obnoxious, and she thought we were dumbasses that would slavishly fall in line because spaceships and laser guns and stuff are cool. And this person wrote, Kennedy has placed her dumb agenda all over the storytelling, and the result was especially awful in Last Jedi, like that 2-hour chase scene that went nowhere. Mm-hmm. Worse still, Kennedy's decision to dumb down Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron into a sexist caveman when he is by far the most charismatic new character in the trilogy. And now he was in The Force Awakens, right?
Yes.
Can I make a sexist comment? Okay. He's cute.
Well, he is attractive looking, and I will admit that too.
Need a hug from me.
Well, so yeah, I think that's spot on, and there's nothing wrong with your comment you're saying, because he's attractive. Yeah,
they're saying this article goes on to say what used to be escapist and mythical and wondrous and ennobling of the human spirit is now pedantic, preachy, and small-minded. So she is trying to open us up by putting this in there. We're actually going, nope, we don't want that.
Yeah, and she's also, saying that, you'll buy it anyway because it's Star Wars.
Dividing us up into tribal camps based on race, gender, color, where we like to put our sex organs.
Now, let me comment there. I want to live in a world where none of that matters. That we're all together, and it doesn't matter whether you're this or that. We come together, a meeting of the minds, and that's where I stand.
Let's look. Next headline. Go woke or go broke. Solo crash lands at the box office. Yeah. So
now you kind of getting the idea of what I'm conveying here, Surlana, is that
I get it now.
What's frustrating, it's almost to the point where I feel like screw it. I mean, I got my Star Wars, and I should just be happy with it. I shouldn't be angry and bitter or whatever. And
because you're talking about the soul of Solo is a droid. Star Wars' first woke robot, L337, speaks for the film's revolutionary themes and to pop culture's anxiety around artificial intelligence. So, if you don't know what we're saying when they say woke, if you're listening to us, or you listen to Coast, or you listen to some other programs where you're listening to people talk about, what's the government doing, or conspiracy theories, or hidden agendas, you're either woke or you're trying to wake up. You're trying to come out from under this sleep we've been in where you just listen to what you're told. Maybe you don't question it, and maybe you don't have ideas of your own or thoughts, and you just get through your day doing your thing. Whereas someone like myself and Spaceboy, we hear something, we go, wait a minute, I'm going to go research the crap out of that, and I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to get other people's thoughts on it, and then I'm going to shift through it and see how I feel about it. And I think that's like what being woke is. Well, in this situation, they're saying woke is being awake and open
it's
to
the new
other
term. It's so hip and it's so now, you know.
Even PewDiePie has been using it. So,
but
it can also kind of
think
mean
in some degree
derogatory.
he uses it as more of a kind of sarcasm. Or,
sure.
Yeah.
His whole thing is sarcasm right now. Because he's been through all of this.
So anyway, so that's the kind of the brief synopsis. Now, what we have is that supposedly Kathleen Kennedy hired Ryan to produce the next 3 movies for the new Star Wars kind of thing. This new anthology that's going to come up. And quite frankly, I don't want him directing anything else. I don't want his hands on Star Wars anymore. He's proven that he can't be, he's not good with the fans. And this is not a matter of doing fan service as far as giving the fans what they want. It's a matter of, hey,
which
we
ones
love.
has he already done?
He did The Last Jedi.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Who did Force Awakens?
J.J. Abrams.
Okay. That wasn't...
J.J. Abrams is going to do 9.
That felt like a previous Star Wars.
Yes, it was. In fact, they borrowed heavily, and there were a lot of fans that were like, but overall, it was like...
Are they going somewhere with Rey? Is this her story that's being told?
Okay. I hate to say this. Read the book.
No,
but watch the story, Last Jedi, and totally get pissed at the storyline.
Are you okay with her existing?
I was rooting for her at the beginning,
her to
but
be a guy?
No, it's not a matter of her being a guy. I hate the fact that
no, you're not that guy.
In The Last Jedi, that you have Kylo Ren saying you were nothing but.
He's kind of a, bleh, I don't like his character. He's kind of a pansy.
Well, the fact is, he could have been a great character, and then there are other characters.
The guy who plays him is cool.
Yeah.
As him, as himself, he's really cool.
There are other characters they've really kind of disappointed me, like Phantasm or whatever her name is, Silver Bucket. And then you've got.
What he's talking about?
I haven't even watched it. And then Commander Rex, or not Commander Rex, Huxtable, or it is bottom of the hour. I'm sorry, I get down these tangents.
Well, it's a good time to just draw a line under this topic.
Draw a line in the sand, and it starts here. All right. So anyway, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but the subject matter does really get to me, and we'll be right back after this.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt. It's Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Well, we're pretty much done with that topic, but just a few more things to addendums. Marvel's Phase 4, which I'm not sure what they mean by that, will offer different incarnations of characters and will have more female directors. Again, I don't know why that's important to know. If it's a good movie and it was well directed, does it matter who did it? I don't know.
The movie should be directed by the most qualified candidate. Now,
there you go.
And that means if it's a woman, hey, congratulations, it's a woman. If it's a man, well, women, it's a man that's directing it again. But I think at the end of the day, I'm over this push about women forcing me to be a certain way when I was already accepting in that way. And if women
I wouldn't
wanted
have married him if he wasn't.
If women want to do whatever. I shouldn't have to
Well, in gaming news, if you care, Fortnite, the game, is coming to the Nintendo Switch tomorrow. If you care about this sort of thing. And if you don't know what it is, I can't explain it to you.
Well,
it's a game.
This is a good point to talk about Atari then.
Oh, there you go. You've been jumping up and down to talk about that.
Well, okay. I'm a big fan of Atari. It goes back to my roots when I was a kid. That was my system when I was a kid. Well, actually, it started with Pong, and then it went into the VCS, the Atari 2600 system. And so I'm a big fan of it. So flash forward to today, and last year there was this big push to bring back an Atari system, if you will, and they were calling it the Atari VCS, the video computer system. And it was very slick and very updated and very cool. And it was supposed to be, starting to roll out by November of last year. Well, it didn't happen. So then that got postponed. And then we flash forward to more recent, where I guess it was an Indiegogo plan to roll out the Atari VCS. Well, they raised over $2 million. And I was really at the point of saying, take my money, please. Which I would have plopped down about $300 for the system and 2 controllers.
Don't go around admitting that.
No, I mean, I will admit it because, I'm a big fan of Atari, and anyway, sorry. It's all this delicious chocolate I have on my side of the desk.
I don't have any more.
Yeah,
I don't want your chocolate's kind of weird.
Well, it's Bunch of Crunch, and anyway. So the thing is that. Come to find out, the things that they've been showing for their system are not real. And so they had to come back and put some kind of disclaimer that these are for illustration purposes only. And what happened was that they were going to have this video game called Tempest 4000, and which is a really sleek, updated version. If you've seen Tempest 2000, it's very similar to that, but more updated. So a lot of the pictures and the things that they showed for the menu going in between the games and stuff, were for illustration purposes only. So this is really kind of got people out there like, hey, well, there's not been a really working model that you haven't been able to show to the public, and it's getting to a point where you really need to show us some goods or something worthwhile on your end. So it's kind of got me, Larry, like we're reaching another phase of, do we trust this group to bring out the Atari 2600 or not 2600, the VCS, or is this just another sad attempt to rekindle something that's never going to happen? So that's where we're at with Atari news, is that before you flop down your money for this new system, even though they've raised over $2 million, I think I'm going to wait to see how this all pans out. And so there we are. Sad news.
Oh.
What?
Sorry. I'm trying to find some entertaining things to talk about.
Well, since
I mean a lighter,
What, am I bumming you out? I can't talk about moon dust?
No, you go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll wait for you.
You'll wait for me? I doubt that, seriously.
And there's a song
Did you have something that you wanted to talk about?
I have things, but I mean, I can wait.
I mean, I really was kind of like hoping you would talk about the feel good movies or shows.
I can't find that link anymore.
And that's really a bummer because
I had nothing to say about them.
I could have said some things about those things.
Well, it's just I clicked.
There we go.
You won't like this. You won't
Round
like this.
3, fight.
I clicked this link, and I thought it's got to be clickbait, and it kind of is. It says NASA images expose life on Mars as strange figure is spotted moving on red planet, and it's a video, and I stopped it before it can start playing because you'll hear it if I don't stop it. Mm-hmm. And it's by a YouTube channel, and as soon as you see their logo, you're going to go, oh. Like, what are they doing
say it anyway.
Putting this on here?
Secure Team 10? Now, everybody knows I'm not thrilled with Secure Team 10.
They've been through some scandals, that guy who runs it. He's been through some scandals. So basically, I'm on the mirror.co.uk, so you can take this all with a huge grain of salt. It's like I'm reading a grocery store tabloid to you. So they say new images released by NASA's Curiosity rover trigger debate over the prospect of life on Mars. I think they are going to find something that's not going to be thrilling. It's going to be microbial, I think. But
they already found farts.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's farts, there's got to be something making the farts. You know what I'm saying? So this video footage, people believe that this video footage shows something moving on the planet's surface, but it was just hit by a dust storm, so that people like, well, maybe it's just because it's the after effects of the dust storm. Mm-hmm. But they say, no, but there's a shadow there. And they're saying it's moving across the surface. Now, this is in black and white. You know, it almost looks like an ocean, but I know it's just the way how the dirt or sand has been distributed. It kind of looks like waves, it kind of looks undulated. But this object doesn't look like anything but just a white mark on the surface. So these images were played side by side on YouTube UFO sighting channel Secure Team 10, sparking debate. Well, that's what they're good at, is sparking debates on that channel. I had to click it because I was like, what is this? So the planet's been hit by one of the thickest dust storms ever observed on Mars because, well, we've only been observing it recently, so what's that say to anything? But the rover has begun to see an increase in dust as it keeps going through its little journey through Gale Crater. Mm-hmm. It's the ideal storm for Mars science. Have a historic number of spacecraft that are operating on and around the red planet. So, I mean, if something's going on, we'll catch it, but whether you and I as the public will see it, I don't know.
Keeping with space news, Gizmodo is reporting about this lady who a woman sues NASA to keep its hands off her precious vial of Neil Armstrong moon dust.
I kind of heard about this.
Well,
what do you got on it?
The question of who owns the moon is at the center of a new lawsuit filed by NASA. Filed against NASA by a woman who wants to keep a vial of lunar dust gifted to her by astronaut Neil Armstrong.
Why couldn't she keep it?
Well, I guess NASA feels that they went to the moon. They
own moon property, huh?
They own moon property. It was tax dollars that.
Bull crap right
well, here we're getting ready to get into another argument then, because it comes down to. The ultimate question is, did Neil have the right? They might have given Neil some moon dust as like, hey, you went to the moon and you're
don't.
I have images of Lloyd Bridges right now from Airplane. Anyway, so if you've seen that movie, you'll probably...
I like that you can't see what I'm doing.
She does a lot of things that are corny over there. It cracks me up. She's trying to break my character. But anyway...
You're a character. Oh my goodness! Forgive me for disturbing the integrity of your character.
Hey, it takes a lot to get into the character of Spaceboy. Anyway,
holy smokes!
So the thing is that the question really is, even though NASA may have gifted the stuff to Neil, but then it should have reverted back to NASA.
So you're saying NASA said, "Hey Neil, have some space dust or whatever," and he's like, "Yay, cool! I'm going to give this to my friend." And they're like, "No, that was for you to have. Don't be giving it to no one else." So you're saying
I'm only speculating that could be because how would Neil come up with that space
What
dust?
would be the problem of just a regular citizen having some moon dust? There's not like gold or a cure for cancer or something in there. It's just some dust. Whoop-de-doo.
You know,
I mean, is there a disease in there?
If you're going to believe the movie Capricorn 1, where they supposedly went to Mars and came back, and let's say they brought quote-unquote samples, then what if the samples that they brought back were not really moon dust? That they were, I'm going with the conspiracy theory right now, but that's not something I believe. I think that, taxpayers paid for those missions. And sure, I'm a taxpayer, so why can't I have some moon dust? I came out of my taxes. Or, well, Surlana. We've moved beyond Ryan Johnson.
Okay.
So the thing is that, I didn't pay for taxes. My parents may have paid, and my grandparents, because, I wasn't paying taxes at that young age. But the thing is
Can
that
Elon Musk go to the moon or somebody like that and figure things out, or does he have to get permission from the president?
He's already building a rocket to go to Mars. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's under their guidance, right? NASA's
no,
guidance.
I think that we're really close to a point where the government is really ready to just say, you know what?
Screw you.
Private companies, go at it. The space is your oyster. And
yeah, but if they go up there and they find something, they're going to shut him down. Like, no, you can't tell anybody about that.
Well, I think of it as disclosure in a way. Finally we get disclosure because,
Got to fart disclosure. What's next?
Yeah, so, now I lost my train of thought. Where was it? Oh, moon dust. Oh, yeah. So I think the question is, did Neil have permission to give that dust to her in the first place? And
but if it's his to do with as he wishes, I don't know.
I think it's a selective thing. It's yours only to keep as a memento of your journey into space to the moon. I just don't think that he might have had the right to give this moon dust to her. But at any rate, the moon dust was given to her. He signed a little card of authenticity, and the thing is that NASA's trying to get it away from her.
Every time you say moon dust, I hear David Bowie.
Yeah, I keep hearing
moon dust.
World government. Well, it's world government.
Jerry Springer might be getting canceled, but don't be crying for him because it was Jerry Springer's been on the air for 30 years.
By the way, I'm done with my moon dust talk. Then,
yeah.
Thank you for segueing for me.
I don't really have more to say about Jerry Springer, but in this day and age we live in, it's no longer shocking. It's no longer, we've got people more up in arms and upset about other stuff, that it's no longer our go-to place for like, ooh, look at that entertainment. Just regular life now is providing that from us. And I want to click this, but I've got to stop it because it's going to load a video. Hold on. Okay. Now, I am still on this British website. An underwear company is being slammed for making, and I'm going to change the word to panties that we understand, that vibrate to get women into the World Cup. Now, what in the world is this about? So, there's this underwear retailer that is making panties for women. Now, you wear them, and every time a goal is scored in the World Cup, the panties vibrate. I don't know why. This is supposed to get women interested in the World Cup. Why do they need us interested in the World Cup? They got plenty of maniacs to do that. So they want them to get into the football spirit. Mexican underwear retailer Vicky Form created this pair of, and saying panties that vibrate when footballers score a goal during the World Cup. And it was unveiled during the World Cup kickoff in a racy advertisement. Every year, 4 million couples separate because of football, meaning soccer. And it cuts to, this is their ad, cuts to a man and woman discussing the problems football causes in their relationship. And the woman describes her partner as sick because he turns on the TV and then no one else exists. So their issue is to find some togetherness. Well, you're supposed to sit down and watch the World Cup, and he can get into it, and then you can get into it. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty raunchy, but the public's not taking it very well. They're saying this is sexist, this is a terrible idea. It's stupid to have done this. Women also like sports and not gender stereotypes. So I guess the public's idea of this is like, oh, the only way women could be interested in is if you sexually arouse them. So I think, and they're saying this is degrading and pathetic. I was just thinking, how did they even come up with this idea? It's so bizarre. You know, yeah, one of our listeners, soccer, golf is easier to watch now. That would be the only way to make golf interesting right there. And I'll just leave that at that. But I just thought that was crazy.
No Coke, no Pepsi, bottlers leave Mexican City hit by crime. So, Mexicans are among the biggest soda drinkers in the world.
Are they? Really?
Yeah, they are. And so the residents of a southern town in the state of Guerrero, of all places, basically have been hit hard because these gangs have been hit taking over the area in that area. So Coca-Cola said, okay, we're closing our plant down.
Okay.
And then Pepsi came along and
they closed their plant.
They closed their plant down.
So there's nowhere to work?
Well, there's no ability to make some of the finest products. Well, Pepsi is debatable, but so there is all this crime that's happening. So they're not managing to.
So there's too much crime. So they're saying we're going to leave and go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm, just going to pull up stakes. And,
now there's no jobs and nothing to drink.
Well, nothing to drink is important, but yeah. But,
well, I think the jobs would factor into it too. So,
so they've stopped producing.
So you're saying it's causing even more problems?
Well, I was about to say they've stopped producing soda in Guerrero, but there's so many problems there that they're not able to produce the soda. Which, I don't know if that impacts some of the soda we get over here. You know how you can get in Texas bottles imported from Mexico, which they use pure sugar, unlike cane sugar versus the whatever
aspartame.
Well, not aspartame for regular drink, regular Coke. They use
syrup, high fructose corn.
Yes, thank you.
Corn syrup.
I would have said it, but if you want to take over talking about the article, that's great.
That's fine. Let's have you just take us all the way to the next break.
Well, I don't know what to say. You're the one with the
no. You go for it. I don't even want to even be here half the time, so you just go right ahead. Go on. You've got stuff to say.
Do I? Really?
You must, or you wouldn't have a show called Spaceboy Universe.
Anyway, Surlana was looking through stuff during the break, and she came across this one article in reference to about feel-good TV shows, and
can't find it.
Which she cannot find now, even though she could probably go to her history, and she's not even bothering right now. And stop reading a book over there.
I'm not. I'm looking at something.
Or playing blackjack. Or
I'm looking at something.
Baseball, football card thingies, and bumper cars, and so what are you looking on over there?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
Somebody's asking how you are.
Oh. Well, I'm a little grumpy right now, but other than that, I'm just peachy keen. I had an episode today.
Yeah, you did.
Of all places, it was Walmart. I don't know.
That could have brought it on. I mean.
And I feel kind of achy in my shoulder, so I'm still experiencing arthritis issues. the thing is that I feel more. How would you describe me, Surlana? Because you watch me and you notice things that I probably don't.
You're okay, and then I can tell you start getting this look on your face, and then you start kind of leaning more forward when you're walking, and your whole demeanor just starts shutting down. And that happened. We got just barely halfway through the shopping trip, and I was like, okay, everything, lock it down. We got to get out. We got to move. Get these items and get out. Of course, we ended up forgetting 2 or 3 things that we wanted to get, because I was like, I have to get you out of here now, because if this escalates, it's going to get bad. And so I got you out of there as quick as I could, got you home, sat you down with some ice water and ibuprofen, but you were okay. We managed to head it off at the pass.
Yeah, I just I wonder if it was because we took the element. Because the element seems more bouncier.
Yeah, it is.
And versus driving in my van, and which is very solid, which is, I just hadn't had a flare up like that in a while. And it's true that you could tell when I'm trying to bend my neck down. Or
I can tell you're trying to get some relief when you do that.
Trying to, I've learned.
You said it feels good.
It does feel good. I mean, it hurts like Hades initially, but once I get to a point where when my head actually, I'm able to let loose completely.
See, I do care about him.
Whatever.
Try to help.
Don't try to ham it up now for our audience. So, but a little flare up, but I'm not in a situation where I can do any lifting really, which is aggravating.
I really think we should look into getting that, not the wheelchair, but the chair that has wheels.
Right. What was I going to say?
Transport chair, yeah.
Yeah, the transport chair. So the thing is that I did go to a doctor. The doctor recommended that I have surgery, and it's the kind of surgery where they would have to put a slit through my throat and go through my throat to get to the vertebrae and the disc and my neck that are, bulging, that supposedly I'm having the issue with.
When you told me that over the phone, I almost passed out.
And so what they would do is take the disc out, put in some kind of bone fusion thing, and then put a plate and then screws, which is kind of similar because I do have L4 and L5 fusion. And, sis, we went in through the entrance that didn't have the carts, and I was fully prepared to take one of the electric carts. It was on the other side.
Yeah, we never go in that side.
Yeah, and so, when we were leaving...
That's the weird side.
Surlana wanted to take the walk of inside the Walmart to stay cool as possible. Yeah. I was like, okay, I don't care. I just need to get out of this Walmart and make my way to the car. And so I did, and the heat felt good when I got outside. And it seems, that's part of what aggravates my arthritis condition, too cold.
Heat feels good.
But the heat feels good.
It feels good on my hand. When we got in the element, we first got in, I put my hand on the inside of the door, and the interior of that vehicle is black, dark charcoal. And when I put my hand, that was hurting. I have arthritis in my hand. So if you'd flared up, I flared up. I put my hand on the inside of the door. I'm like, oh, that feels good. So...
Yeah, the bone is from a dead person. Yes, AK, you pretty much nailed it. See, they're saying nice things about you in the chat room.
I guess I should pay attention.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm still working. I'm going to work, doing my thing. For the most part, I feel decent enough to make it through a day. I haven't been taking Advil like I was before. I'm at that point where the pain level is tolerable. It's a little bit more than the way it was before, but it is tolerable. And I'm getting the watch sign from the lovely Surlana. So let's go ahead and take our next break. And the phone lines will be open. So if you do want to call home, we'll get that taken care of.
Facilitate that.
Yeah, facilitate that. So you're listening to Spaceboy Universe, and we'll be right back after this.
listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Spaceboy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Surlana's Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, just below the K28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Sorry about that, folks. I almost missed that. I was distracted because Surlana sent me this beautiful picture of a lovely wheelchair. And, you know, nothing makes you feel like, you know, disabled like
the thing is,
your partner was saying, you should get this wheelchair.
The thing is, you're going through this, and I don't know how much longer you're going to be going through this because I don't know when and how we're going to get you this surgery, if it's going to happen. And even if it does, there's going to be a recovery time where you might need to be in this thing.
Well, the recovery time that they're talking about is like 8 weeks. And, you know, the operation is shaking big. They said I'd be in the hospital for 2 days.
Yeah, but
and then
afterwards,
a week of recovery.
There's no way you're going to lay in a bed or anything for 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It would be good to have this on hand, so I could take you somewhere so you don't go insane. Plus, I like pushing you around.
I know you do. I think you're looking for that one cliff that's just going to make a difference in your life and pushing me over. I haven't made a decision on this surgery. I'm a little kind of freaked out by the fact that
I think it's a good investment because if you don't need it, I'll probably need it. One of us is going to need it.
The thing is that the surgery, there's
we're not getting any healthier.
A 5% chance that it could paralyze me.
Yeah, so it's a freaky thing.
And I mean, it's 5%. Maybe you could say the odds are good that 95% chance I won't get paralyzed. I hate the idea of being paralyzed. It sucks. I mean,
you're like, well, what's left of life to, live,
The thing is that, I have my problems right now, walking and aggravating my condition with my back and stuff. And I don't know, I feel like I've made some progress. And, speaking of people that have had the surgery, my sister's ex-husband had the surgery. And, she's saying he did quite well. I don't know. My sister will remember when I went through the bone fusion with my lower back, and I was really miserable through all that. And I guess it also didn't help that the fact that, I was pretty hefty then too, as far as weight was concerned.
You're going through some other stuff,
and some other things, dealing with.
My gosh, they threw narcotics at you this time without you even asking. I was like, and you didn't even take them. I'm like, put those away for later.
No, I took
those where I can find them.
I took some of the narcotics, but it just didn't. I don't know. I guess I need a horse tranquilizer to take me down.
It was pretty hardcore pain for you.
Yeah. And I tell you, the worst part was when we went to the emergency room about the thing on the back of my neck.
Yeah, well.
And they injected the numbing agent into my neck. That hurt like you could not believe.
But I knew if it's a thing where they could cut you and squeeze you,
I agree.
It was going to help.
I was ready to slice and dice the back of my neck to pop that, whatever that infection was on the back of my neck, because that was a big thing.
Man, there's nothing like when you get an infection somewhere on your body and the only solution is to cut it open and drain it, and it's just like there's no amount of stuff that will help you stop the pain. I mean, they could put the numbing in it, but there's nothing to numb the numbing. You're gonna feel bad, But I've been to the exact same thing.
Gene's asking me what's the most I've ever weighed. Well, Gene, you ready for this? I weighed 270 pounds. That's the most I've ever weighed. Currently, my weight is about I think I weighed 217 the other day, which is good. For a while there, I kind of ballooned up to back to 230, and but I'm making my way down. I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess for about a month now, we went that week where we didn't really cook at all at home. We were like, thanks Grubhub, thanks
man,
Uber Eats, and
we get access to DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. We're just fortunate where we live, and we had a week or two. We abused that, but we found a bunch of restaurants we would have never gone to because we don't know where they are. But I was like, oh, this was it was like a luxury thing. Kind of cool though. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yes, I love barbecue, and so it was nice to find a barbecue place that would deliver. And so
found a place. I think it's the same place as the barbecue place you're talking about. Will send you a tasty chicken fried steak as big as your head, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm at a good weight now, and like I said, it's not like, I don't know. I guess I don't eat like I used to. I mean, what was that over there about?
What?
I said I don't eat like I used to.
Oh, I'm not paying attention to you. Sorry.
Dear, we're talking. What are you looking at now on there? Are you looking at more wheelchairs and stuff like that?
Well, that was a good deal, you have to admit.
Okay, that's fine. But,
anyway.
right now I'd like you to pay attention to me.
Say something.
I have said something.
You're talking about weight and pain and all that stuff.
Is it the idea that you don't like me getting too skinny because then all the what did you call the Facebook honeys?
No, you called them that, and I laughed for 15 minutes.
I can't help it. I have a big group of women that follow me on Facebook, and
Yeah, sure you do. They're following you, but I don't think they're for the same reasons that you believe.
Oh, they're following me because I'm a righteous dude, because I'm entertaining.
So if I were to divorce you and that word got out, they would just be knocking down your door?
No, I've already had this discussion with you. I do not plan to get hooked up or married or anything.
Are you going to shun them?
I'm going to go get a cabin. I'm going to grow a beard out and become like...
What's stopping you from growing a beard out now?
Well, my job will not let me grow a beard out.
That's not me that's stopping you.
No, but I will go to the mountains and raise
What's stopping you from going to the mountains now?
You're already pushing me out the door. I'm not even in a wheelchair yet.
Let you go now. Is there a brief moment? Do you still have things to talk about?
No, if you've got something to talk about.
No, I don't have anything to talk about, but I wanted to share a brief snippet with you.
Well, go ahead.
It's chicken fried steak, not chicken fried chicken, which is a redundantly stupid thing to say.
Well, they do have chicken fried chicken.
They do, but
and they do that
just
to
call
point
it
out,
fried chicken.
I guess they're just making the emphasis that it is
this
chicken.
is just making me want it.
Well,
to talk about it.
I thought about chicken fried chicken today, but you didn't want anything crusty.
Well, my teeth are hurting because of sinus. Because I've managed to get it under control, but as we've gone through this course of this show right now, right here along the sides of the back teeth, they're starting to hurt again. So it's starting to come back around. So yesterday I was at work and the sinus thing was bothering me, and it was ramping up. So by the time I drove home in the traffic and the bright sun, my headache was just pounding, and it is an allergy sinus thing. So I come home and I get in bed and I don't go to sleep. I'm just looking at stuff on my phone. But by the time you get home, I kind of was drifting in and out. So at one point I said, okay, I'm going to commit this and take a little nap. As I've told you before, there's something about going to sleep and losing consciousness when it's daylight that I dream on a level I don't dream on when it is dark. And I don't know how my brain knows the difference, but I swear to you it does. So it's still light out. It's like only 5:30 or something when I took this little nap. So I took this little nap, and my brain went to some freaky deaky place like it does. So I dreamed.
It didn't take you long to get to that point, because I had called you at 5 o'clock to let you know I was on my way home, and
I was about gone.
And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah, and he's all mad about it too because I didn't have anything to say.
I hung up on you.
He's mad because I didn't have anything to say at work all day long where nothing happens you're interested in. So I go to sleep, and this is what I remember. I dreamed I was me, or some me avatar representative of me was here on Earth, but it was the future. I mean, it was like way into the future, like the year 3040 or something like that. But the difference was there were different alien races have come to Earth and they're living on Earth. But the thing is, these are not the cool aliens that brought us peace and understanding and, you know, better ways of living, or green living, or, you know, how to get along and transcend to our higher self. No, these were like alien races are just as bad as we are. Like, we didn't learn nothing. They didn't learn nothing. They come here and they actually like some of the crap we do. Like, they love our 24-hour media news cycle. They love gossip. They love the TMZ, and they just start integrating their culture with our culture like that. You know, the social media and the internet, they just think that's great. But it's all different kind of races, but they all kind of have like, hey, we like what you got going on here. So, it's more like, I guess it would be like the first Blade Runner or some sci-fi movie where it's just like in your face media on buildings, and, you know, so I recall that I was in this apartment or building, some dwelling where if you want to get on like the internet or the media thing, it's not necessarily TV you go to. There's a space inside whatever building you're in or wherever you live. It's like a big pyramid, but it's translucent, it's transparent, it's see-through, but you physically go in there and you could see like if someone's standing in there, but you don't see what they see when you get in there. When you get in there, you activate it, and all these different screens come up, and you can look at everything that's being streamed, every program, every news, every social media thing. Like it's like kind of like an internet, in every language, in every alien language, every alien broadcast, human broadcast. And then you can switch a thing, and it will give you all the audio at once. It'll translate everything at once. It'll give it to you in anything, in any language you need it in, or you can filter it. But it's kind of like Idiocracy too, that movie.
Yeah.
Where people were like, the media is the entertainment. This is the only thing we're going to do. We don't care about learning or growing, and it's just like, we're fine having our mac and cheese and pooping in our chairs, So it's that's what I dreamed while you're in here doing music or something. I just went on this weird ass trip inside my brain, and I don't know what the heck was going on. But I'm talking, I could have only been asleep for maybe an hour, maybe even less than that, to dream this craziness.
Did you take any kind of meds or something?
No, I was hurting. That's the thing. That's why I kind of went to sleep. I'm trying to read a book or something on my phone, and I'll reread it, and then I don't know where I go, and I come back, and I'm still on the same page, and I'm trying to read the same page again, and I go away from consciousness, and then I come back, and I just I've read this page 800 times, and I can't get past it to stay awake long enough. So, anyway, that's what's going on.
Okay, fine, cool.
All right, there you go. I know you couldn't care less because I've been so dismissive of you.
Yeah, I don't. I can't put my finger on why you're so dismissive with me.
Well, the floor is yours, and it's also yours, listeners, because the phone lines are open, and those phone lines are 833-202-SBUN or 833-202-7286.
So what is
call in? Shut me up.
What's the phone number west of the Rockies?
The exact same thing.
And what about the east of the Rockies?
Quit stealing from other shows.
What about the north of the border?
I don't know what your problem is. See, it's the shenanigans like this. I can't deal with it.
What? I'm just being funny over here. Now.
Well, when it's funny, I'll laugh.
Yeah, that number is 833-202-7286. 833-202-7286. If you want to call home Space Cadets, please do so. You can do so by calling that number. And, we still love Canadians, too. So if Canadians want to call in.
This is a great time. If you've never called in, call in. I will be nice to you. Don't worry about this other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, because she saves all her angst for me.
If you haven't called in a long time, another great moment for you to call in. Otherwise, I'm going to get up and go to the restroom.
Hey, you can't go just yet. It's not.
All the plants are going to die.
All the plants are going to die. What?
You don't know that.
Okay, I was going to say. But anyway, I'm trying to think of what I had else on my agenda here.
I don't know. You got to have something because you've been dying to say it.
God dang it! No, it's just I try to say things, and you're just really eager to push me over the ledge.
I want to look at this. Have you found it yet?
Found what yet?
Whatever you're going to say.
No, go ahead.
Having thick eyebrows says something about your personality, and it's not good.
Oh, okay. Well, that might explain why my eyebrows have disappeared over the years.
So you might be shocked to learn your eyebrows say a lot about you and more than you think. So they're saying new research has come out that says people with thick, well-groomed eyebrows are actually rather narcissistic.
Oh, okay. Well.
And if you don't believe me, you just ask the University of Toronto, where this research comes from. They say they did a study on narcissistic personalities, and that was their conclusion. They took photos of study participants, And they had them complete a test that measured their level of narcissism. Narcissism is, being really into yourself, loving yourself, just being like, oh, me, 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 me. Who does that sound like? So now what they did is they took these photos, then they cropped them down so you just see the person's eyebrows. You don't see anything else on their face. So these people were asked to correctly pick out these participants who they thought were narcissistic, basically looking on their eyebrows. And sure enough, the more distinctive your eyebrows are, in terms of thickness and grooming, the more self-centered the person had scored them on their test. So this could be because well-groomed brows are more recognizable, which is sort of an ideal trait for a narcissist. So if you're like really into yourself, then you're like, oh, well, you must be into really grooming and getting your eyebrows on fleek and just getting them right because you got the time to care about that junk. So they suggested the link is because groomed eyebrows are more recognizable. The lead researcher said narcissists love attention and admiration and maintain distinct eyebrows so that they are noticed, recognized, and remembered.
So I guess we segue into the question. What do you think of my eyebrows?
They're hardly there.
Well,
it's no fault of your own.
No, in fact, that's just a thing of age because, when I was much younger...
Did you wear part of them off?
I think that you've been feeding me a steady diet of arsenic and...
Of eyebrow disappearing cream?
I mean, I have, the issue, the little bit of eyebrows I have left do this mad scientist thing where they kind of pop out of my you know what I'm talking about? Algae looking eyebrow. I had to kind of push them down.
You've got toward your nose, you've got eyebrows, and then as that comes up to do the little arch, they just fade away. What's that funny?
I don't know. I guess it's because I'm gonna die soon. I don't know.
What?
It's just sad because I guess it's just that's why I think that I need the Trudeau men's press-on eyebrows. I guess you didn't hear about that in the news. There was some kind of thing about the Canadian guy up there, Trudeau. Apparently, there was some eyebrow conspiracy that his eyebrows were falling off, or one of his eyebrows.
I've not heard this.
Yes, it was. And I just need a little more eyebrow. I don't think I'm going to be penciling my eyebrows anytime soon, but there was a time when my eyebrows were much more darker than they are now.
Let's get some makeup, and I'll pencil them in, and I'll take a picture, just your eyebrows, and I'll put it out there like, do you think this person is narcissistic?
Well, does it say anything about men who pencil their eyebrows?
No, they're saying
okay,
people who are well-groomed, thick eyebrows.
I'd tell you what I don't want is to shave my eyebrows and look like those chicas that do their eyebrows,
and they draw them back in all weird.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I've never understood what that trend is all about. There's women that do it. There's women that do it here. I've seen them. Around work, but I don't. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That's fine, but I don't get it.
Your eyebrow wasn't that long to start with in the first place, and it's almost like they've taken yarn and stretched it all the way down to the side of their eye. So
I've seen some crazy stuff like that. I don't know why that had you tickled though.
I don't know. It's just I'm sad because my eyebrows are fading just like my hairline.
Well, I mean, it's not like you don't have any. It's just it's like you've got partials.
Okay, so moving from eyebrows to IHOP, which I think is probably I think that
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Now, is this just like a temporary rebranding, like for advertising stunt, or are they meaning it?
No, they've changed it to IHOB, which is it like to attract
International House of Burgers?
Yes. Are they attracting hobbits? Is that why IHOB? Okay. And then the sad thing is the design, the OB looks like that box of feminine tampons, and that's sad upon itself. And then, you know, it wasn't that long ago that Applebee's and IHOP are closing hundreds of restaurants as millennials, you know, just don't care.
So
anymore.
they're desperate attempt to try to maybe
be hip and up,
save their own company,
save their bacon.
But as usual, and anytime a restaurant chain, a well-known national restaurant chain, has problems or they're trying to do something to head things off at the pass like this, here comes Wendy's to smack them down.
Oh yeah, you got to give it up to Wendy's.
It's like somebody's tweeted Wendy's, are you worried about IHOP going to be a house of burgers? Like, we're not intimidated by a restaurant that thought pancakes were too complicated. I was like, I don't know who's running Wendy's social media, but they are a freaking genius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just don't understand that. I mean, first you have these restaurants being closed, and then all of a sudden they
desperate attempt
to change their name to be interesting. But the Twitter war out there was funny because I think Whataburger said we're not going to rename us to Whata Pancake. And Pancake. There was
which is
one.
Funny because Whataburger is mostly a Texas thing.
Yeah, and then you had Burger King saying that we're not going to be called Burger Pancake.
And Moon Pie and Pop Tarts got in on it, and they sided with Wendy's. Mm-hmm. And Wendy's is like, yeah, y'all come over here with us.
You're not going to. That's funny about the Wendy's. You don't go into a Twitter war with Wendy's.
No, don't get it. Two things: don't get involved in a land war with Asia, and don't get involved with a Twitter first.
So I don't know if you heard this from the AV Club, but there was an article a while back on June 6th about MIT scientists create a psychopathic AI by feeding it violent content from Reddit.
I believe it.
Now,
I've been to Reddit.
The thing that gets me is you really want to create the robot uprising, right? I mean, what is to be gained by feeding this crap to... I mean... It's one thing that...
Why do we need robots to do it? We can do it to each other easily.
The thing is that...
Why outsource violence?
Could we not learn anything from the AI that was Microsoft introduced to Twitter?
Well, no. I think that the Twitter experiment to Microsoft was just like, oh, it's probable, it's feasible, let's really go for it now. I think that was the test to like, hey, we can make AI as crappy as humanity. And they would have to do it where there's no skin on it, too. Yeah, there's
a creepy-looking robot-looking thing, and, it looks like a bad movie. But, MIT, shame on you. What the hell are y'all doing?
Robots taking our jobs, taking our feelings and our emotions and our violence.
It's no bueno. When I see that picture, I just want to cringe because it's so scary-looking. But yeah, I
do think Wendy's is open right now. Yeah, it's at 11:30. Oh, hey, it's 11:30.
It is 11:30. Well, I guess Surlana.
Man, we can talk some nonsense, can't we?
I'm Spaceboy. She's Surlana, and we'll be right back unless she pushes me off a cliff.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Surlana.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Well, it's been a kind of interesting show tonight of absolutely nothing. It's the Seinfeld of the universe.
Broadcast, yeah.
So, Surlana, I had saw an article about from KRON4, I guess out in California.
Is that a station? Or?
Yeah, it's a station.
Okay.
So, measure to split California into 3 states qualifies for November ballot.
Yes. Do tell.
So, you're kind of the expert as far as...
Well, I know the previous bill,
Mm-hmm.
where they wanted to have, was it California and New California?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're going to try to get it into 3, but I don't know what... The first one was, we don't want to be governed by these laws and these tax laws like these rich coastal towns. We want the big land, dirt part of it to be separate. So I don't know what the 3 parts would mean.
Well, the 3 parts would be Northern California. This would be... NorCal, yeah. Would include the Bay Area and the 31 remaining counties north of Sacramento. Main California, or just California, this would be considered the new state, which includes Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara, St. Louis, Monterey, and several other counties. And then Southern California, or SoCal, San Diego, San Bernardino, Orange, Riverside, Mondrea, of course, many others, on that end. So those are the 3 things, and it's making the ballot for this November. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see
I get their reasoning behind it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean... okay. Sorry, I got distracted by another article from Mafia running the jails there in L.A. So I guess we'll see this November how things turn out for California if it actually gets broken into 3 parts. I'd be curious how you Californians feel about the subject matter. So do tell if you get a chance to plug in there. But, if it keeps your people in that area, all for it. Not that we don't welcome people here in Texas. We just like to keep Texas Texan. And the influx of people would definitely change that vibe. And
well, they already have. I mean, there's a lot of California here.
And a lot of them moved to Austin, which is
a great place to keep them. They have a saying in Austin, it's called "Keep Austin Weird," so they all fit in. So
yeah, but anyway, that's coming down the pipe there,
Indeed. So I will be interested. So they've gone from wanting to split into 2 now into 3. So is the first one where they proposed to go into 2 shelved? Now they're doing we're going to do 3. That's what I want to know. So is the first one still on the table, or is it all just this?
I don't know. I think, but this measure has made it to their ballot.
Okay, so that one might stand a chance of maybe getting looked at, I suppose, taken seriously.
Something I'm looking forward to seeing at the movies, and probably you'll stay home because you'll probably not want to see this, is the thing about Mr. Rogers. Won't you be my neighbor?
I will be happy to sit down and rent it.
Well, at least you know your standards. There's
it's not
actually
movie worthy going.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see it. As a kid back when, let me start this over. I liked Mr. Rogers. I liked the message he conveyed.
Wasn't anything else on, so you had to like him.
Well, no, that's besides the point. The point is that he made you feel good about yourself, and he brought subjects to kids like myself at that age that like for example, divorced parents, which was pretty good subject matter because being the product of divorced parents, it was a subject matter that hit home with me. So there are a lot of good moments that I think back to watching Mr. Rogers, and Of course, I love the trolley thing. That was one of my favorite things, is the trolley. So I don't know. I might go see this without you, but
yeah, that's fine. I had nothing against the show. I never have. It's just I was all about Captain Kangaroo. That was my thing. So
well, on some news that I'm sure you're happy about, Netflix is going to pick up Lucifer.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, come on, Surlana, that was a joke. Anyway, so
is that a show?
Yes, it was a show on Fox, and they canceled it. And then Netflix picked it up.
Never heard of it.
Lucifer.
Never heard of it.
About the devil.
I'm familiar with the concept, but I never heard of this TV show.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm supposed to be excited about that. It's something I never heard of, but
because you're evil.
Oh, see, I didn't make that connection.
See, I had to bring it home to you, right? You get it now?
Oh, score one for you. You're so clever.
Good for you.
Oh, good for you.
Good for you. What
you
about
and I are done professionally.
There we go.
We're only ones keeping it alive.
Yes, keep it alive. As I say, keep it alive. Keep hope alive. I know another show that you're not quite that interested in, but I am. But,
which is anything. Oh, babe, we have a call.
Oh, well, then I guess let's take the call.
I should be paying attention.
Yeah, you should be paying attention instead of that book over there. Caller, you're on the air. Oh.
Well, one more Saturday night.
Hey.
Hello, you guys.
Hey, Dino, how are you tonight, sir?
Thank you for rescuing this sinking ship.
Hey, whenever you're in the middle of it, don't admit that you're failing. Surlana, that's a little key to broadcasting.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I'm trying to be happy, but, I had a trip planned that didn't come through. We won't discuss that. Mm-hmm. But so I was sitting around today, and we also have sucky weather all of a sudden. After summer had come, we went back to kind of like fall, the fog and the wind all day, so I couldn't get much done. So I spent way too much time on the internet. And I'm surprised Bev didn't call in, because she was on all day today, too, posting things.
They're not here.
At any rate,
her, I guess, off doing something.
So you had a tasty dinner.
Yeah, I had a pasta with ragu sauce that I made, and I put extra garlic, and made the pasta al dente, and to keep warm, I actually had to turn on the furnace a little bit tonight. I could have, a lot of entertainment choices, but here I am with you, and I heard you mentioning the 3-state initiative in California.
Yes.
And it would be interesting to analyze that, because at least where I grew up, there always seemed to be an imagined and also a sports team and also a political difference on many issues between Northern California and Southern California. A couple of times, I mean, actually there's a history I read that goes back over 100 years where there was a drive to at least have a north and a south, but this makes no sense to me. I don't know. I'd like to analyze who put it on the ballot for November, that you would have 3 states, even
Maybe
though
I'll
I
look into that.
understand there are different regions, and I understand the north-south, but then, they're kind of pulling off, I guess, the eastern part of the state. It could be agricultural, but, that's a stereotype. I mean, there are people in Southern California who don't like the way some things are going, but that's just where they live. And there are some people in Northern California who, have different political views, but, might agree with some things. Gene had made a point on the chat that, more senators, more representation. I'm not sure. I guess you would get more senators. I mean, I don't even know. It would have to affect the Constitution, because you're only allowed, 2 for each state. And I don't know if we have more states, then you have to change. I don't know. But certainly the House of Representatives would have more people, but then again, the way it might balance out is you'd get a different type of a representative. I don't call them leaders anymore. There are representatives, and they forget it so often. They only listen to who they want to listen to. But there might be, a political thing that would end up being a net zero. You might have a more liberal people in some parts of Northern California that got elected, and then some more conservative, but they would cancel each other's vote out. So I personally am not going to vote for that. North-South, I'd be tempted, but 3 states, it's ridiculous, and there are people who feel that it would take away political clout because we're one of the most populous states as it is.
True.
So to divide that by 3, I think dilutes some of that. So there are 2 sides to that issue. It would be interesting to see why it was put on the ballot, whether it was some fringe group or whether there is some 1% political business interest behind doing that.
Well, I'd heard something to the effect that the agricultural community have been not happy because of the populace dictating certain things. Like, for example, I remember watching something on Netflix about the water situation y'all had out there, and banking the water, and most of the water going, I guess, to Los Angeles, and really kind of depriving the people that are trying to grow stuff out there, and they can't because of the water situation.
That's true, and then there's the environmental group, which is trying to restore fisheries. I mean, maybe I hate being negative, but with Fukushima, all the radiation, the ocean is getting real sucky. I don't eat salmon like I did every Friday anymore. And so when you run too much water from Shasta Lake and from the Oroville Dam, which was built to send water to down south, and now they want to bring more water. I mean, they've already ruined the Colorado River. L.A. drained that pretty much. And it's a huge integrated population center. I mean, I've only been to L.A. twice, and it never ends. One town runs into another. And, way up north, then you have a very rural, and when you had the logging industry, you had a very kind of country type of, mountain type of living, and there are still folks up there. Water is a big issue. If you're not governor, if you're not a senator or assemblyman, one of the most powerful, my father used to say, because he had a little ranch up in northern end of the Sacramento Valley, and he said, if you can't be one of those guys, you should get on the California Water Board because they have great power.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I don't know if it still is, but like a lot of rice has grown, a lot of the world's rice in the San Joaquin Valley, the Central Valley. And I asked my dad once, I go, how come you can't grow rice? He goes, it's kind of like the mafia. He said, did they tell you you have to join, and they tell you where you can plant, what you can plant, and what variety of rice, and then they tell you where you can sell it and what the price is. So you got a lot of people screaming, we don't like socialism. I'm not totally against all forms of socialism. We have some, but when it gets into agriculture, these supposedly free living off the land folks are controlled, at least in the rice industry, not so much the peach industry, but I think in the nut industry, the walnuts and almonds, I believe they're controlled. I mean, it's scary. And then the Central Valley is sinking by several feet over the last 50 years from all the water being pumped out. There are just too many people, and there are just too few rich people and too many of the rest of us, and they want to thin the herd.
Yeah, I think I read something too that this could break it down to where, a lot of the middle income families are moving out of California, leaving a 2-tiered system of either you're rich or you're poor, and that is something California is looking at right now too as well.
No, I mean that's true, and there's some of us that are holding on to the middle class, but if you didn't buy real estate a few years ago, I got lucky, and that was the only thing that kept my head above water, because I never got married, so I never had 2 incomes like you need nowadays. But I bought at a time, and I bought a rental property that really saved me. I mean, who cares if I have a college degree, and I can tell everybody now I'm a little bit concerned. The last couple of weeks I'm retiring, and I always wanted to be kind of low-key on a lot of these programs because I worked in the public school system. I didn't want people to know what I did because if you hate to be that way. I'm pretty free speaking and don't care what people think a lot of times, but I didn't want to lose my job, with some of these shows I've been
That's
on.
Prudent.
And issues and so I didn't. But now everybody, well, what does Dino do? Well, I was a high school teacher, and I still could, but I'm just fed up with the way things are being run. And all my friends have either retired or died or moved out. And just in the last 2 years, I had a couple of people I went to high school with that were also teachers in the same district, and they've all retired in the last 2 years. I go, what am I doing there? I'm the old fart. I look younger sometimes when I have a good night's rest, but I'm the old fart. I used to be the young teacher, So it's hard, but life is full of transitions, and I would reach out to those in the deep state and say, let us know that we're being visited by ETs, because you have to know the truth. You can't deny the truth. It just causes one more problem.
True, very true. I'm sorry, let me take a moment to describe what I'm looking at. Surlana is bracing herself against the microphone with her forehead.
No, I'm not. It was just in the way.
But anyway, so...
Well,
I'm not doing that. You're weird.
As long as you don't fart. Okay.
Yeah. So, Dana, we appreciate you calling in, and, hopefully things will work out on another trip. And I'll leave it at that. And still haven't heard from someone, and as you know, and I'll keep you posted on that. But other than that, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and it wouldn't be a night without getting a call from you.
Indeed.
Okay, well, that's great. So I really wish your health condition improves, and I would just say if there's a 5%, that's just a number. I might take the risk. You're young enough that you don't want to live the rest of your life with, pain and limitations. If you believe that this procedure can help you, you might consider doing it. Those are pretty good odds,
Well, I'm sorting through the minutia of different possibilities, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, we all would let us know when and if you decide, and we'll send the great Space Cadet energy we always send, that he seems to heal people and help them through rough times, because I know it's helped me. So.
Thank you, Dino. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me.
All right. Have a good night. Bye, Surlana.
Bye.
Well, Surlana, we're getting close to the end of the broadcast. Hold on just a second. Housekeeping.
Well, did you tell me the 30th?
The 30th, yes.
That would have been my parents' anniversary. So the 30th of this month is something I can tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a preliminary interview with one half of the group that makes up Pony Trap Music. Pony Trap will be at Houston Maker Faire this October, so in the interest of helping promote that, we coordinator said, hey, go interview this guy. So we talked to him, but Pony Trap is a husband and wife team that makes music in a really different way. They play violin and cello in sort of a tribal industrial way, but they are backed up by percussion, which is being played by robots. You've got your drums, but they're being played by sticks that are hooked up to Arduino on breadboards and pre-programmed. And so we talked to that guy, Quentin.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool, very fun. I think he likes us. So we'll be having him and hopefully his wife, too,
I think,
on the 30th.
I think you'll be pleased with the dynamics because, when we were talking, it was a lot that I personally could connect with Quentin. And
musician to musician.
Yeah, musician to musician. And, and I think that, getting his wife on with him is going to be great because the dynamics that Surlana and I have, they'll laugh, they'll cry, they'll kiss the time that they invested in us goodbye. And so, it'll be a good show. And so tune in on the 30th. Now,
that'll be really fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're working on a guest next Saturday, and
contact.
Surlana needs to pull that
work
contact.
on contacting her tomorrow.
Okay, good. And so we're going to reach out to her, and I can't really tell you more than that. Just that it'll be an interesting interview. It'll be kind of
it'll be a local person.
A local person, tech related, and also FBI related. So
maybe,
maybe.
I don't know.
We'll see. It's all. So I'm kind of teasing the audience there with a little teaser. Tune in next week, my friends. We'll hopefully get that guest nailed down and go from there. And man, can you believe we're almost upon the 4th of July?
I get that day off. That's cool.
I mean, it's amazing how quick time flies by.
Crap, did we just have Father's Day?
Oh, wow. 4th of July is in the middle of the week, so how does that break down?
You just don't go in the middle of the week.
So do you think they're really...
Yeah. You just get that one stupid day off.
That's weird. I'm not complaining or anything, but,
Wednesday.
I've always felt like it's like a 4th of July weekend kind of thing,
Yeah, well, they should just have it be 4th of July, but, it won't be on the 4th. It's like the spirit of 4th of July.
But to our European audience, sorry, it's an American thing. But
I don't think they give a crap.
It's a Wednesday, so we'll be broadcasting one way or another. So good for you, right?
Yeah.
So
they're not heartbroken.
What else we got there, Surlana?
Working on that. Working on helping out Maker Faire and getting their stuff together, which we will be there this year in October. If you go to Spaceboy Universe, you will see an animated banner come by. You can always click on that, and I will get the latest schedule as I know it for this show up there. Hopefully I'll know by tomorrow what's going to happen.
So, I'm working on, projects I'm working on personally.
Yeah, you're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, so I'm working on, I keep describing it as television/film, doing
independent film.
Independent film, where I'm doing the music for that particular project, and
very, very cool.
Very cool stuff, and
I would like to hear it someday.
Not just one project; it's actually 2 shows that I'm working music for.
It's the same.
But same people.
Production.
Yeah, Jim and Jody Bray, the Outer Rim projects. Yes,
you got it.
So I'm excited about that because I've been able to spend some quality time behind my desk to produce music, and
I've been passed out having freaky dreams.
I took advantage of the fact. Well, I started Friday working on that, and then Saturday I did some more, and then I said, what, I'm just going to take my laptop and remote into my computer at home from Mickey D's, and that's how that all started this morning.
Well, good for you.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way.
I appreciate it.
I mean that in a supportive, awesome way.
Oh, bless your heart, dear.
Yeah, that too.
So that's what's been going on, with projects and stuff. And, as always, if you go to Spaceboy Music, the music is free. All I say is download it, share it, and also play it loud. Tell people where you found it. Free music is cool because the latest album is out there, and it's the Beginning of the End is the name of the album. Lots of cool tracks off of that, and
I thought it was the end of the beginning.
It could be the end. Yeah, it's the end.
I'm not trying to,
No, it is the beginning of the.
It's opposite how you think it would be.
The thing is that I'm doing this concept thing, and where it's the end of the beginning is the name of the album that's out there.
But the rest
beginning of the end is the next album, which is a continuation of this music I'm doing, and so. We'll get that out there, and we'll go from there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so on that magical note, Surlana, I think we can go ahead and tell our Space Cadets goodnight.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
We shall see you next week. And now, if you want to reach out to us, we're out on Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere the universe is posted. So contact at spaceboyuniverse.com is our email, and we'd love to hear from you. So good night, everyone. We'll see you next time on Spaceboy Universe.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K28, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Spurrier, Dino, Bob and Beverly M. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Surlana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.